Did Mike make it in? Okay. All right, we are rocking and rolling.
All right.
Let me,
Gotta pick up 4 minutes.
okay.
Council.
I'm going to now call back to order the Pasco County Board of County Commission meeting of September 16th. Okay, I see you up. Are we thinking we're going to finish that part now, or are we going to go on to our public?
I mean, that was the discussion that the board had prior to breaking.
Okay,
We need
I didn't
to
catch
finish
so we're going to continue with the budget item that we had this morning, and then we'll go on with our public hearings.
All right, so Amy Farrell, Budget Director with the Office of Management and Budget here in Pasco County. And so we'll pick up where we left off. So we were having some discussion around appropriate reduction to the general fund millage. So what I'd like to do is go through the remainder of the budget as we've built it with the 0.02 reduction, talk about how that's structured, and then we can come back to the millage towards the end. We do have a final slide where we can, try to get some general consensus before we come back for the final public hearing this evening at 5:15, if that's good with the board. Okay. All right, so the tentative budget that we have put together before you right now, which includes a 0.02 mil reduction in the general fund, is $2.24 billion. Now, this is roughly $6 million less than the fiscal year 25 budget that we've adopted. And so we've achieved that through a few ways, but one of the things that we've accomplished through the pretty lengthy budget cycle that we have through a lot of negotiations and efficiency findings during budget meetings is we were able to reduce the department submissions within the general fund by over $3 million, and then looking at other refinements across other funds to bring that total budget down by just under $6 million. All right, so what's the makeup, the components of that budget? For those of us who are visual, I just bumped ahead to the pie chart slide. And so you'll see the biggest piece is that operating. So think the day-to-day work that our teams are out there doing. $411 million invested into capital, $54 million for debt service related to larger capital projects, and then $453 in reserves. And that is reserves across all of our funding. All right, so the revenues that come into our overall budget, we've tried to break those up in a way that makes sense to the common person and not just our fiscal accounting type folks. So the purple piece of the pie, that's the property taxes. So this is general fund property tax, our fire municipal service taxing unit, our roads municipal service taxing unit, and the general obligation voter approved debt service. And then if you go to the next piece, if you go clockwise, that's our fund balance across all of our different funding sources. And then that piece on the bottom are charges for service. So this bit of the pie, think transactional. I pay some money, I get this thing. So like a one-for-one transactional type of revenue. So our utility charges, impact fees, ambulance billing, solid waste assessments, those types of things. Then if we go around to close out the pie, that green bit that says other services, think of these as kind of pooled revenue that then gets divvied up amongst different services. So we've got penny for Pasco, our fuel taxes, federal and state grants, things like that, tourism taxes in there, communication service tax, those types of things. All right, so now let's narrow in our focus a little bit from our overall budget down to the general fund. And so this pretty much shows you what's changed from tentative, i.e. July, and the first public hearing to today. And we'll do a deeper dive this evening, but I just wanted to do a nice recap. So based off of some refinements in our revenue estimations going into this year, we are expecting a little bit more in beginning fund balance, but you will see we are eating out of our reserves a little bit as we discussed before the lunch break session. All right, so how is our general fund broken up? So the largest piece of funding in the general fund is our public safety. So think sheriffs, corrections, fire rescue. In that other is emergency management, public safety administration, juvenile detention, things like that. And then, so we already talked reserves, general government, so you'll see that is like our facilities management, IT, think human resources, county attorney, those types of internal type support departments. Now, if we keep moving, the red piece of the pie is our other constitutional, so supervisor of elections, tax collector, the 6th Judicial Circuit make up that piece of the pie. And then the green is our outward-facing services. So our Parks Department, community services, libraries. Then I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that our Parks budget is $3 million more than it was in July. And a big piece of that was the sheriff giving us back $2 million from his budget to reallocate to our Parks Department so we could start to put a bigger dent into their capital maintenance needs. All right, so our outside funding, just a friendly reminder, anything on this slide that is bold and italicized, those are those state mandated things that we must contribute, so Medicaid, health department, those types of things, and then those things that are not bold or italicized are at the board's discretion. And this is unchanged from the last handful of times that we've talked about this slide. So constitutional officer budget requests, so these are also unchanged from the last time that we've shown these, but just to show you how those make up. And then just a reminder that the supervisor of elections, because 26 is an election year, we do see where his budget will bump up a little bit in election years, and then we expect that to come back down in the subsequent year as his budget tends to grow and then shrink depending on off-cycle years. All right, so our capital improvement plan, we are looking at a $1.8 billion 5-year plan. The biggest chunk of that is our transportation capital. And so if we go to the next slide, we see what that makes up. So this slide breaks it down into categories, and then we wanted to touch on some of the major capacity projects that are coming online, as well as that sidewalk, the Shady Hills Road, Mary Giella Elementary to Bosley, because that was such a board priority. We wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that we did get some money into the budget for that for 26.
A question on that slide.
Yes, ma'am.
I had asked you last time about this $10 million for Starkey Boulevard.
Yes.
I can answer that.
Thank you.
Chair Starkey. Yeah, that $10 million, I misspoke at the last meeting. It is the county's obligation to build that roadway, and what the developer had agreed to do was build that for the county so that we can accelerate the project and not have it run through our normal project construction process. In terms of the right turn lane that was being required as part of the development project, the developer was going to build that, but then we were going to provide mobility fee credits for that work. So in the end, it was the county funding that right turn lane as well. So in terms of the entire expansion of that roadway, it's the county's going to be fully funding it.
David, is that what you recall?
That sounds right to me. I mean, it's been a while since we've approved that agreement. There is a binding agreement with the developer to do that work.
I thought there was too. There was a binding agreement for the developer to do the work, but us pay for it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, there was an agreement that went to the board for that road work to be done by the developer, and we were going to reimburse them. That's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right, so this slide here shows the tentative millage rates that were set at the first public hearing. And then this next slide, and the only change is the general operating millage. You'll see that is a 0.02 mil reduction. And so if we'd like to go back to try to round out our conversation from earlier this morning, what millage reduction should we come back for the final public hearing anticipating?
What are you saying just now?
So earlier today, we had some, county administrator brought forth a .02 mil reduction. We've had some earlier dialogue around .03, but it seemed like we might still have some conversation that the board would like to have. It seemed a little bit rushed to close out for lunch, so we just wanted to come back and allow some opportunity to further talk about it if the board desired.
Yeah, so this is the part where I'd like the board to give us some feedback on what we bring back this evening. Currently, this is 7.4092, represents the .02 mil reduction that we mentioned this morning. So the question before the board is Commissioner Yeager had asked, well, what does .03 look like? I think $500,000 roughly. We'd mentioned some wants versus needs. I did, bring up, well, if we were to make reductions, there's probably a certain order of operations that we would like to follow, looking at new spending, other expenditures, capital expenditures. But we, the first thing that I could potentially offer up, if this is a path that the board wants to go through, is we have non-CIP as part of our facilities budget, which represents projects which might be needed, but can probably wait. And we could explore that. I have Andrew Baxter here. I don't think we need to get into a big discussion about it, but just from a policy perspective, if that's the direction the board would want to go, that's one area where we could go. But there's a multitude of things. But I would need the direction as to what do you want the millage to be.
Okay, Commissioner Waitman?
Thank you. Best time of the year. So, ask Eric, and thank you, Eric and Amy, for being so patient and good with me during our budget time here. So with the DR funds, the county is able to be from my understanding, cut me off, Eric, if I'm wrong, the county is able to be reimbursed, and that includes payroll and a number of other items that have quickly added up already. I'll let Eric speak specifically, but approximately $200,000 that we've already incurred in costs that's coming out of general budget. If we, depending on how the DR process moves forward with staff time and everything else, if we're able to be, this taxpayer is able to be reimbursed out of that fund, we can easily get to Commissioner Yeager's proposal of a .3. Now, it's kind of like that one-time cut, but it's given us an avenue and a layer of money to get through this year. Eric doesn't have those projections yet. He's exploring them, but appreciate you guys looking into our last conversation. And it might be the way to go that could total pretty quickly. So,
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
So I was going to bring up the DR, especially when it came up with United Way. 70% of the money is going to be spent on low income. And I'd like staff to comment and look at it. Do you think it's an opportune way to actually, instead of taking out of general fund money, use the CDBG DR money over the next 5 years and use that money instead and apply it to our allocation with the United Way?
You're going to have to observe the strings on that DR money in anything you want to do.
That's why I'm cautious about it.
Now, could United Way be your partner to distribute some of those funds? Yes, but as you heard in the last meeting, you can't supplant funds that you've already budgeted for United Way or anything else in use of those monies. So, and while I've got the mic, the administrative costs are capped, and so that's another thing that you've got to weigh against. You can't just reimburse all of your costs. There's a cap on that money, a percentage cap, and it's got to be administrative costs of that program. So theoretically, the answer is yes, but
see,
it's all in the details.
That's the
However,
lawyering
I
right
think
there.
there's some, I'm wondering if, we don't have the contract yet, and we're going to have that discussion today. We haven't rolled out that program, but I am wondering if next year we have a better opportunity to really save some pennies when we know what we're doing. And to that end, it's my understanding they can't be on our CIP, or it has to be new stuff, right?
That's the supplanting.
So we really
That's what
have
you're
to,
referring to.
I would suggest, this is my suggestion, And let me back up for a second. What did we cut? How much was the rollback or the reduction last year? What did we? Because we've rolled back numerous years in a row. Yeah, we rolled back last year.
4292.
And the year
Yeah,
before
don't
that.
make me mad. We were at 7.57, we went down to 7.4292, which is,
There's no drama.
I don't have.
That's
I don't
okay.
have my phone.
What did we do
To
the
Matt.
year? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but we rolled it back how many years in a row?
What's the average? What we
So 3 years in a row,
Yeah.
you've done it, and I think as I mentioned in the morning, that's cumulatively 0.1984
Yes.
mils.
Yeah.
So we were at 76076, then we went back to 757, then 74292, and then proposed today is 74092.
Now, to Commissioner Mariano's point, he was on the board then, but none of us were. When they kept, things were great. They kept rolling that back. Save Our Homes came in and we were devastated. Parks and libraries closed. You guys weren't here. We were having to put machines in the front of parks and people were gonna have to pay to drive into Starkey Wilderness Park, you remember?
Hudson Beach.
All of our parks, we had to charge people to go in. The county was not in a good position. But, you know, anyway, so we have slowly come out of that. However, I do hear, you know, especially the business community
Yeah.
who are at the 10% cap, that their property taxes are going up much greater than their profits are going up. So I feel that. I am a small business owner. I get it. So, you know, I'm balancing here, but I think that we're being responsible in rolling back, but not too much, but being careful for next year. I think we have a greater opportunity when we know, when we can plan ahead and use this CDBG-DR money wisely to help our citizens in the budget next year. But to cut something this year more than we have, I think starts taking us into dangerous territory, for me.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
So when the economy dropped and parks, libraries went down 30%.
30%.
And
We're still not
maintenance, I'm
back.
sure, got deferred. We're still not back, as we know.
No.
Right, everyone agrees with that? We looked at the MST, we thought about doing that, we decided not to because we want to put any more taxes out there. But we're still in a major deficit, we're not getting out of anytime soon. To do more cuts, it's tougher. I went along with the 0.2 just because I like the way Mr. Carrella had set it up, where it wouldn't be the painful part. Let me go back to DR, though. So if we're going to consider the DR, and again, you can't supplant, the only way I think it could work, and Jeff, listen at this, and Mike and anyone else, if we're going to do that, you'd have to cut the funding for the United Way today. No, I'm just saying, here's what you have to do. Because if you have it in the budget for next year and try to pull it back, it's going to be tough. Because you could get it yanked back if you tried for any time in the future. So it's
Okay,
not an easy thing. The
Madam Chair.
Commissioner,
regulations are tough.
Okay, who was next?
I was.
Okay, Commissioner Yeager, then Commissioner Oakley. Okay.
Okay, so if we would just maybe explore my way of taking the 500 out of the general fund, then we're not touching United Way, we're not touching facilities.
But general fund is the United Way.
No, I'm saying though, we don't want to touch the United Way.
But it's
What
part
I'm
of the
saying is,
general
But it
fund.
would come out, no, I mean, it wouldn't come out of, the buildings would still get the maintenance, it would come out of reserves,
Oh, reserves.
Sorry,
You said general
reserves.
fund. Okay.
reserves.
Okay, Commissioner Oakley.
Well, I was just wondering if the consensus is that we, instead of the .02, we do the .03, but I would favor Amy and Mike doing their work, magic work on that to show where those cuts should come from, because I think they work closer to our different budgets and make it work that way rather than if they take it out of reserves and then find a way that monies are coming back, like you told, that we were going to get some savings in other areas and then feed it back into the reserves. I think that's a great way to do it with less pain to any department, so.
So I think the approach would be as if the board wanted to do .03, you know, since that's on the table here. Just like the .02, our plan was to pull it from reserves and then pay it back through savings throughout the year, right? So we use the IT program as an example of one where we believe that we can find savings in, and if that's the case, then yes, of course. And you know, we can either look at organic savings that we achieve during the year, or you know, we may dial back into some programs. Maybe we don't hit facilities as deep, but my recommendation to this board would be that we need to prioritize reducing our recurring expenses. Our recurring expenses, it's spending more than we take in on it, and so I would prioritize pulling that under control. And I've talked with Amy and Eric about, you know, how we can, you know, we look at that on a quarterly basis, and as those savings are achieved, we replenish reserves. That's the approach. So that way we are achieving recurring expense training, but paying ourselves back into our savings account. So I'm committed to that approach all year long. And, you know, and if I find more than .03 during the course of the year, well, then that's great, because our reserve balance is lower than it needs to be anyways. And we should also prioritize increasing our reserves as well, because we are at 42 days currently.
Yeah, roughly 46 days, roughly 12.5%.
Okay, so we're 14 days from where we need. And then if we were to be paid back by FEMA, roughly 52 days if we had recovered that. So we're still, it's several millions of dollars short and shy of where we'd be. My recommendation is any reductions in budget, you replenish your savings. But we can try to thread the needle and do both. But you'll have to, you know, I can't promise no pain if we go to .03. We'll have to, you know, make some reductions where they make sense.
I have a question, but Commissioner Oakley's next, then me, then
Okay.
Commissioner Waitman.
I think that's the right way to do it. The fact of it is we're looking at this budget and we want to trim things back, but at the same time, our citizens are asking for more roadways being done and more infrastructure being done, street lights, other things that are coming up that cost money. So you got to be careful what you cut, so you don't want to cut those things that are very important to our citizens to be able to keep coming. And that goes along with different things that we do for them. They're very important to be very, very careful on how we make that move.
Let's see, did I say him, then me, right?
Yep.
Okay. A question on the CDBG-DR money, and, I mean, don't we have to spend it to get it back? Isn't it spend it?
Yes, it's a reimbursable.
It's reimbursable. So we have what do we have, 571 million?
585 million.
We got to spend that to get that back. Where, you know, this is my challenge at Amskill. So you got to have it to spend it. So where are we getting that from?
Yeah, we're working the details out now. Once we get our consultant on board, we'll be bringing more detailed plans back.
It could only come from our reserves. I don't know where else we write a $25 million check to, how does that?
We got a portion of it up front, though, correct?
My understanding is there's a working capital account perhaps, but I'm not prepared to talk about the details of it. I do
Okay.
think that,
That would
you
be
know,
helpful.
DR funding, obviously,
FEMA doesn't do it that way.
and making those reinvestments is a tool. Good, Mr. Lane is here.
Chuck Lane, Director of Office of Disaster Recovery.
You can ask him.
It is a reimbursement grant. So we'll put in, and we will have to pay these projects up front, but we'll do it as frequently as we can, so it's not a big hit. I don't know how often that will be. We have a lot to do to figure these details out, but it is a reimbursement
Yeah.
grant.
Yeah, okay, Commissioner Waitman.
Hey, so Eric, you think it's possible for this afternoon to figure out how much we've already, so when you look at, there's already a pile of staff time, commissioner time, there's a pile, in my opinion, of reimbursable actions and work that have been done all the way up to here. We have a bid protest we're having to deal with. That takes staff time. Like, to account for everything we've gone to set up this program to today, is there a way to get a total? a rough estimate of what we have invested in?
I can work with the team to get, Eric Breitenbach, Assistant County Administrator, Internal Services. I can work with the team to get a rough estimate this afternoon.
I mean, if
But
it's-
the specific question you had asked was relative to the procurement expense costs, which are providing direct efforts towards getting the program stood up. We'll look at those types of specific
Broad-
costs.
Broad,
A little
broad-
more broadly, yes,
with,
sir.
with the work that we've got into it, Marcy and her team and setting up, I mean, that might come up to several hundred grand, which is
Yeah.
a nice chunk that can go towards what we're trying to accomplish. It might, if it's 200-300 grand, then we're only talking about another couple hundred to make up the difference. So, if it's board's pleasure, I think it'd be worth Eric and his team kind of jumping into before this afternoon. And that could maybe ease some of these.
And to that point, Commissioner, I wanted to verify with Mr. Lane, for example, the expenses of the initial team with Connor and Marcy have been being billed back to a DR account line item. So we are expensing some of these initial expenses to that item. But to your point, there are additional expenses that maybe they are. Again, my only point that I would just say to you is that those are one-time expenses. It's kind of similar to pulling out of reserves. You acknowledge that. I really want to look at meaningful recurring expenses over the course of this journey as we look to try to pull things together on this. I'm fine with that.
But I'm alone.
Let me throw out a number to my fellow commissioners to make sure I get to my birthday dinner on time. 0.025. Am I saying it with the right number of zeros?
0.025 reduction.
Yeah, instead of 0.03.
Okay,
You
so-
had come to us with a 0.02. I could live with a 0.025. I think that's the biggest one we've ever done, that I've been on the board. In the hopes that next year we can continue. Because we have this unfortunate opportunity with the CDBG-DR.
I'm gonna hold, I personally would like to see us do 0.03. I think we can find it. I
Commissioner
really do.
Mariano?
I mean, back to the CDBGR, we got to spend $585 million. And you got 5 years to do it, six years to do it. Think about that. We just had a hurricane last year that brought our reserves down 30 days, maybe a little bit less, but we're adding some more back in now. We get one more hurricane like we just did, or another hurricane season, guess what? You're not going to be able to spend the money, and you're going to throw the money back away instead of doing it. And right now, I will tell you, in my area, I've got all these roads that were impacted by all the storms, all the traffic. I mean, Gulf Harbor's lucky they were about 2 or 3 feet higher, but up in
Some parts
Hudson
of
area,
it.
some parts of it, yeah. But in the Hudson area, this 3 feet
Yeah,
lower,
it's-
and all the trucks, all the traffic have destroyed those roads. I got Sea Pines, 21 years waiting to get some stormwater relief, which we don't even have funded yet. And they got to do roads and septic sewer after that. I mean, that money, you're going to need it to go. You can say keep squeezing, but don't squeeze here or don't squeeze there. Guess what? Everything's affected.
Yeah.
I think 0.02 is a good, 0.02 is a good number. 0.025 I'm good with. But I mean, just to squeeze, because we're trying to squeeze to make our state legislative people kind of like, oh, look what they're doing, look what they're doing. And I had one text to me earlier. I mean, we got to be responsible. And I've been through it. When we cut, because
Yeah.
we wanted to cut, it was a great thing to do. And then you come back to it, and now you got to go fund the stuff. How many people have roads for the MSTUs or people waiting to get their roads done? Now that we get rid of the paving assessment, we put this in, how many people are banging on the door? How many people want to get in the fields that can't get there? Whether it be Wiregrass, Starkey, Mitchell, wherever. We got to take care of our people. They have imposed on themselves all the GO bonds. We did nothing to go push that.
Which are going
They
down.
said they wanted these things done. From 20 years ago when I started to now, people want the services now. They don't want to keep on waiting and waiting and waiting. The kids are growing up. The lives are going on. They want the services. They want to be premier. They like what we're doing, all the things we're doing premier. To just squeeze for the sake of squeezing, because it's not going to affect anybody. Another
Commissioner
half,
Wilkins, yeah.
one millage, 1/10, another 1/10. It's minuscule. The
Commissioner
effect.
Oakley, did you have your hand up? Okay, Commissioner Yeager?
The only thing I disagree with you is we're not doing it for any legislators or anything like that. I mean, for me, we're doing it for the people. And two, we're not talking about cutting paving, we're not talking about cutting roads, we're not talking about cutting any of those services if we get to 0.03. We're not touching any of that.
Some's cutting.
I understand that, but if for some reason you took it out of reserves, which wouldn't kill us, $500,000, it's not going to kill us. And we're at 0.03, and we're trying to get our taxpayers' savings, and every little thing helps right now. And that's what I have to say about that. I mean, I really think we can do it.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
question. What's the effect on a $300,000 house with the cuts we're looking at?
I see that.
Yes.
He's typing away on his laptop.
0.03.
No, the difference between .02 and .03, what is that per household?
Dollar per 100,000 of taxable assessed value.
$3 a year.
$1.
Yeah, I don't think they'll,
They ain't gonna blink.
yeah,
I disagree with that.
we knew you would.
I'm consistent on where I'm going to be.
Okay, so just so they have an understanding of the flavor, I'm gonna query my fellow board members at what your number is for right now, and then we're gonna move on to the public hearings. Commissioner Oakley, what's your number right now?
What's your millage rate?
.02, .025, .03.
I think we can do the .025 would be fine, and we'll make it work. I think
Commissioner
with the
Waitman?
staff's leadership and where it should come from, I think it'll work out.
Commissioner Waitman?
I'm gonna bet on .03.
Okay, I'm .025. Commissioner Yeager?
I'm .03.
.025.
Okay, all right, so we'll come back later, and, but we can't, can't just keep talking, we gotta do our business here today. Okay, where are we at 1:30? We've got P75.
That was R72, Chair.
Yeah, we still have the bid, but we'll do that bid protest after. These, we won't take long with these.
Item P75 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on August 6, 2025.
What is this here?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Amanda Hill, Planning Development Economic Growth. Item P75 is an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending Pasco County Land Development Code, amending Section 802, Tree Preservation and Replacement, Section 802.1, Intent and Purpose, Section 802.2, Applicability, Section 802.3, Tree Removal, creating Section 802.4, New Development, Section 802.5, Existing Problem Trees, Section 802.6, Tree Protection, Section 802.7, Trees of Special Significance, Section 802.8, Heritage Trees, Section 802.9, Tree Mitigation Fund, Appendix A, Definitions, and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion into the Land Development Code, and an effective date. This item comes to you with a request to continue this item to the October 21st, 2025 Board of County Commissioners meeting in Newport Richey at 1:30 p.m.
Move to continue, time certain?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
P76.
Item P76 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on February 5th, 2025, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings. The item was continued from the March 25th, 2025 BCC meeting to the April 22nd, 2025 BCC meeting, where it was continued to May 20th, 2025 BCC meeting, where it was continued to the June 17th, 2025 BCC meeting, where it was continued to the August 19th, 2025 BCC meeting, where it was continued to today.
Item P76 is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map 2-15 and sheet 10 from Res 1, residential 1 dwelling unit per gross acre, to PD, planned development on approximately 7.83 acres of real property located north of the intersection of Little Road and Jasmine Boulevard, and a text amendment creating subarea policy flu 7.1.82 Little Road PD, and a map amendment to the future land use map 2.2-9, adding sub-area map 2-982 Little Road PD, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for a repealer, severability, and an effective date. This item comes to you with a recommendation to continue to the October 21st, 2025 Board of County Commissioners meeting in Newport Richey at 1:30 p.m.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
So this item, I think, came to us in May, and I spoke, and I had said that there's no way, this is a basin of special, closed basin of special concern. This is one Alan raised in his neighborhood. I said then they would do a big study to make this done. Our team is actually looking at this as well because the neighborhoods right now have water all the way through them. Staff is actually looking at it, and it took them time to get with Swift Mud because we're not in an emergency situation to go forward. But just the rain we've had, these people have water everywhere.
Yeah, I heard the engineering has to be redone.
It has to be redone.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to do this in October again. I don't think it's right for the people to have to like wait every 30 days to see when it's going to go. It's going to take at least 60 more days to get this done. And I don't know if we've talked to them about
Is the
what time they
applicant
need. Is the
here?
applicant here?
I don't believe so.
Well, I don't know, do we move it without them being here? I don't know.
You could continue it to a time uncertain and make them re-advertise when they're ready to come back to you.
I'd also like to mention that there's a companion MPUD P80 that's on today's agenda for this.
So if we're able to go time uncertain, I'm going to make a motion to continue at time uncertain.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
P78, 77.
77.
77.
P77 is an ordinance.
Publication first?
Sorry.
Thank you. Item P77 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on August 20th, 2025.
P77, an ordinance amending Pasco County Ordinance Number 25-07, correcting the legal description of Newport Corners Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statutes, providing for miscellaneous provisions, providing for an effective date. And staff is available to provide a presentation if you'd like.
This is for CDD?
Correct.
But I have a question. It's not related to the CDD, but it is related to Newport Corners. And I don't know if we got the answer yet. I just actually had a conversation with the engineering firm. When Newport Corners realigned Plath, they had neglected to realign the multi-use path that went alongside Plath. And we caught it in a meeting, and we had a meeting with the applicant and their engineer. And everyone from the county side was in agreement that they needed to move the path over alongside the road because otherwise it's dumping everyone in the street. And then they hit Massachusetts, and the multi-use path is not on the road anymore. It's crazy what happened. So I just want to be sure that got fixed.
David Engel, Planning and Economic Development Director. Ma'am, I'm not sure it got fixed yet. What I do know is they were supposed to submit a revised walkability connectivity plan. They've indicated to us, that's Clearview, the engineer of record, that it's been complete, and we're still waiting on the submission and the review.
So why are we approving things when we don't even have an approved plan?
Well, this is a Scribner's error regarding a description on already approved CDD, so it's just a cleanup. It's not a new CDD application, and we would certainly put that on pause until we resolve all of these connectivity questions.
Yes, everything, we need to make sure. Sometimes things fall through the cracks.
Well, we're not letting this fall through the sidewalk
Just
crack.
want to
yeah.
be sure that we're not putting people in danger like that, what they showed us was doing. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, take a motion.
Public hearing.
A public hearing. Anyone here wish to speak to this item? Okay.
I don't have a sign-up sheet. I don't know if there's one up there. And there's no one on WebEx for this item.
Move approval?
Second.
All in favor?
It's a roll call vote.
A roll call. Okay.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Aye. Okay, next.
So item P78 was published in the Tampa Bay
Ordinance.
Times on August 13th, 2025.
P78, an ordinance by Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code, amending Chapter 100 to create Section 106.6, amendments after August 1st, 2024, and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion into the Land Development Code, and an effective date. Staff is available to share a presentation with you if you'd like.
Does anyone need a presentation?
No.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anyone want to speak to this? Do
There's
we have
no one
anyone
on,
online?
there's no one online for this item.
Okay,
Move approval.
Second.
all in favor?
Roll
Roll
call.
call, I'm sorry, roll call.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Aye. Okay,
Rules.
next.
Rules.
Which one?
I believe P79 is
Yeah.
the next number, but that's for the public hearings.
You don't give a rule?
Oh, do you need to swear people in?
You need procedures.
Okay,
There are two rezoning agendas, regular and consent. If staff will present each application to the board, staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended approval and there's no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or Planning Commission recommendation or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning may at this time request the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion and vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law in Florida is that mere public support or opposition of an application is insufficient for this board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria found within the board's land development code for rezoning. Madam Clerk, would you like to swear anybody in the public in that wishes to speak?
I will. If you're here to speak on any of the matters to come before the board, please stand. I guess it's just you. Please raise your right hand.
well, that's a first.
I know. Are you sure? You don't want to speak to any item? Okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may proceed.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jamie Smith, Real Property Division.
I'm sorry, Ms. Smith. Let me go ahead and do publication on P29. My apologies. Item P-
79?
79. What did I say?
29?
Yep, that's not it. P79 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on August 10th, 2025 and August 17th, 2025. Thank you.
The Real Property Team has received a petition to vacate a platted right-of-way, Regina Drive, in its entirety, together with the internal lot lines 1 through 6. It was filed by High Tech Collision Centers Incorporated. Oh. It's everything that's highlighted in yellow. The purpose of this vacation is to allow High Tech Collision Centers Incorporated easier access to the back of their properties, as well as occasional overflow parking. There were no objections to this petition, and the Real Property Team recommends approval.
Can you go back to that aerial?
Here?
That one. What are all those structures down there at the bottom?
Structures on the bottom.
I mean, is that how that's supposed to work, this code? I'm asking, I don't know who would know here. Storing all those vehicles like that.
It looks like it's a parking lot.
It is parking in the back of the structure that's closer to Bolton Ave as the collision center.
Yeah, I'm talking about those big trucks and things at the southern end of the property. And I'm trying to understand, is the whole property concreted? There's no, so,
Heather Wolf, Real Property Division.
The southern property consists of overflow parking currently for the collision center. That's where they park the cars that are being worked on for body shop purposes. And they wish to vacate that portion of Regina Drive to further expand on that so that they're not.
So they're
parking
already
in the garage.
using the road, our
Yes.
property. And where's their stormwater ponds and all that for their business? Since I see all that concrete. I'm just curious.
I don't believe that the property has any stormwater requirements. There were no objections internally, and they were not identified by the applicant's survey. We do have the petitioner's attorney for the petitioner. I believe they're on WebEx.
I just want to make sure that's a permitted operation there. That's what I'm asking. Because I don't see how they can do all that concrete without having any stormwater runoff ponds or anything. And that's not to our code either. So I'm just trying to understand if this is a legal business. Because if they're operating without permits, why do I want to give them our property? Maybe they are. I just asking staff, someone tell me.
We would ask that the applicant's attorney speak to this matter.
Well, I'll look it up. I can look it up on my.
I am here on behalf of the applicant. If you would, I don't know if you can hear me. I am appearing virtually.
We can hear you.
So you have the question, this is Mike Carvalho, County Administrator. The question that the chairman has asked is your client's property appropriate, is his activity in an appropriate zoning?
And permitted for that.
And
all
permitted for that
concrete
use.
Without any stormwater, no landscaping, I don't know what's required in this kind of use, but I just.
Yes, commissioners, at this point, they have all proper permitting that's required for their purpose of business. They are a car repair shop. The only thing we are requesting is the vacation of Regina Avenue so that they can access the back of their site. But there have been no code issues. They are currently up to code with their business,
Well, it
up
looks
to
like we
permitting.
paved our right of way.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
can we ask if she has been sworn in?
Okay.
Because
She
she's
doesn't need to
giving-
be, it's a vacation.
Thank you.
Can we come back to this and let's go to the next one and then have staff do some research on there for me?
Yes.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Okay. Oh, that's unreadable. I can't read that. Okay. So go on to the next one and then someone get on Pasco mapper or whatever.
So item P80. Item P80 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on February 5th, 2025, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings. The item was continued from the March 25th, 2025 BCC meeting to the April 22nd, 2025 BCC meeting, where it was continued to the May 20th, 2025 BCC meeting, where it was continued to the June 17th, 2025 BCC meeting, where it was continued to the August 19th, 2025 BCC meeting, where it was continued to today. Thank you.
Item Amanda Hill, Planning Development, Economic Growth. Item P80 is Little Road MPUD Master Planned Unit Development, Nguyen Thien, a rezoning petition from ER Estate Residential District to MPUD Master Planned Unit Development to allow for 23 townhomes and 32,452 square feet of commercial uses and associated infrastructure on 7.83 acres, located on the east side of Little Road, approximately 550 feet north of the intersection of Little Road and Jasmine Boulevard. This item comes to the board with a recommendation to continue to the October 21st, 2025 Board of County Commissioners meeting in Newport Richey at 1:30 p.m.
Move to continue to uncertain.
Second.
This is the companion item to the one that you did on the
Okay, and
comprehensive
do
plan.
we don't have to take public comment?
No.
Okay. Is it a roll call?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, what's the next one?
Item P81.
Okay.
Okay, it was published in the Tampa Bay Times on March 5th, 2025. The item was continued from the April 22nd, 2025 BCC meeting. to the May 20th, 2025 BCC meeting to the August 19th, 2025 BCC meeting, where it was continued to today.
Item P81, Enclave at Livingston MPUD, Academy at the Lakes, Inc., a rezoning request from an AR Agricultural Residential Zoning District to MPUD Master Planned Unit Development District to allow for the development of 178 townhome dwelling units and associated infrastructure on approximately 46.3 acres located in South Central Pasco. I just wanted to state for the record that a revised agenda memo was sent to the clerk's office. That was to correct spelling errors only. And this comes to the board with a recommendation to continue this item to the October 21st, 2025 meeting at 1:30 p.m. in Newport Richey.
Move, continue time certain to October 21.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And the next one?
The next item is item P82, was published in the Tampa Bay Times on July 23rd, 2025.
Item P82, CPA 2503, ELAMP Con Map Amendment, providing for transmittal of a comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map, map 2-15, and sheets 5, 11, 12, 17, 18, and 23, from AGR Agricultural Rural, Res 1, Residential 1 unit per one dwelling unit per gross acre, Res 3, Residential 3 dwelling units per gross acre, Res 6, Residential 6 dwelling units per gross acre, Res 9, Residential 9 dwelling units per gross acre, Res 12, Residential 12 dwelling units per gross acre, and ROR, Retail Office Residential, to Conservation Lands, on approximately 2,813 acres of real property located throughout Pasco County. Staff is available to make a presentation if the board so desires, and we also have staff online as well to answer any questions you may have.
This is your only consent item.
Correct.
Does anyone want a presentation?
No.
It's
Okay, then I will take a motion.
No, is there anybody in the
Oh.
audience?
If you want, you can speak to it.
Is anyone to speak against it?
Seeing no one, is there anyone online that wants to speak to it?
There's no one online.
We're good to go.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, yes?
I was gonna say,
He wasn't
Keith, there's
speaking.
28,
I'm not speaking in opposition.
2,800 acres, Keith.
So, yeah,
Speaking for-
Keith Wiley, Director of Parks, Recreation, Natural Resources. So before I was your Parks Director, I was the Environmental Lands Manager. So I think this item today just highlights the good work.
Yep.
Talk a lot about open space. And so the ELAND program is protected around 6,600 acres to date so far. And some of you have seen the items of agreements that we're going to be working with the Family Rural Lands Protection Program to add even more. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to applaud the good work of the team and the efforts of the county to protect environmentally sensitive areas. So good work.
Keith, I was wondering, with the addition of the land that we did today, I know it wasn't an ELAMP, but it does protect that, that conservation land today?
So
Austin's.
yeah, so it's an agreement to work with the state program, and it would be if negotiated and all the numbers make sense, it would be a partnership with the ELAMP program through the county and the state. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So
I was just wondering, are we still at 30% or are we higher than 30%?
we're moving. Yeah, little ticks here and there. Absolutely, we're going in the right direction. So we're not at the goal is 30%. We hover between, depending on which you're actually adding up, anywhere between 18 and 23% protected.
Well, I guess we add, wetlands and things and parks.
You have a lot of projects that, you don't build on, so.
Correct.
Yeah.
My understanding is there's 30 to 33% of the county that will not be built.
That's true. I
And
understand.
I'm always very proud to say that number. I mean, I love saying that number, that we do have open spaces where some of our more developed counties, they don't have what we have.
Correct. I just thought it was a good opportunity to just cheer the program on. So.
I was reading the room, and I thought, well, people may want to go get a snack or something for 5. Well, I'm staring at.
Sorry.
No, thank Keith for coming up.
Thanks, Keith. Okay, I think we're able to go back to,
So it's my understanding that it's a C2 zoning, and this is a body shop, which is an allowable use in C2.
and they have all their permits, that they don't have to, they can cement that and not have any stormwater runoff lines.
The use has been there for, go ahead, David. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and the other
They're
thing,
grandfathered, or,
David Allen, Assistant County Administrator, Development Service. The other question on this parcel was the pavement on there. We looked back at the records, and that pavement has been in place for approximately 30 years. So
okay, so they're,
the building footprint also is consistent with what we saw 30 years ago. So whatever is there has been in place for that time and probably met the requirements at the time it was constructed.
okay, so if they're gonna, add concrete to have another access, it's gonna trigger something, right? They're gonna have to be up to,
Yeah, if they do site improvements, they would need to come to the
They have to come
county
in for a site plan.
those. Yes.
okay,
Chair.
Question?
yeah,
Question.
Commissioner Oakley.
So the parcel that we're talking about, I'm looking at it here, but I don't see any lines on this, but the part in green with trees, that's where the roadway is?
They've already paved our road.
So this is all pavement on that part of the road, I guess?
Commissioner Oakley?
Yes.
The pavement is generally on the western half of that right-of-way parcel.
So the rest that's just ground?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So it appeared from staff's graphic that they own the 2 lots on one side of whatever that road is, that undeveloped right-of-way is, and then the 3 lots on the other side.
I hope they expand their business.
So,
Yeah, I'm just
Go for
wondering
the
if,
tax base.
but the guy, whoever owns the property on the right, do they want some of it too and split the?
they own all of it.
The same
Oh, they own that other
petitioners own it,
property.
yes.
So
Oh,
the-
excellent,
The
okay,
yellow box would be their
Okay.
their property holding.
Right.
okay.
Move approval?
Second.
Did you
Uh,
ask for public comment on this one? I don't
Is there
think
any
there is.
public comment on this? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
The only individuals on WebEx were the 2 attorneys for the applicant. There was
Okay,
No one else on
well, they don't,
WebEx.
they're done.
Just to let you know that.
Okay, we will go to the protest now.
Oh.
I got excited. I have stuff to say.
Good afternoon, Carrie Roberts, Purchasing Director, here for R73, review of the county administrator's decision in response to protest of solicitation number RFP LK25-100, Disaster Recovery Program Management Services, award of solicitation number RFP LK25-100 to IEM International, Inc., in the amount of $32,337,119.29. So thank you, Commissioners. We're here today to talk about the protest of the award. The timeline for this project, yay, it's working. The timeline is that we received 11 proposals, and we opened those on June 17th. On June 30th, the evaluation committee met, and they shortlisted the top 3 high scores, which were GrantWorks, Haggerty Consulting, and IEM International. On July 8th, they heard oral presentations from the 3 shortlisted vendors. On the 9th of July, a notice of intent to shortlist an award to IEM International was posted on our bonfire site. On July 16th, 25, GrantWorks protested the award to IEM. On the 21st of July, the purchasing director sent a letter of eligibility accepting GrantWorks' protest. And on July 25th, we received a letter from IEM responding to the allegations made in the protest letter from GrantWorks. We reconvened the evaluation committee on the 29th of July to consider both the protest letter and the response from IEM. On the 30th of July, we received a letter from GrantWorks to the county administrator outlining additional concerns with the evaluation process. On the 30th of July, the county administrator denied the protest to GrantWorks. And then on the 8th of August, we received a protest of review by the board. The protest consisted of 4 major areas. The first was evaluator bias. The second was procedural errors. The third was IEM's prior experience. And the fourth was pricing. In GrantWorks' protest, they alleged the evaluator bias, that GrantWorks asserted bias by evaluation committee members, the lack of discussion of some aspects of their proposal, and the lack of consistencies in the evaluation order, resulting in confusion amongst the committee. The second point was procedural errors. They said that shortlisted vendors were not provided a set of score criteria for the evaluation of their presentations. The third point, IEM's prior experience. GrantWorks asserts that they have superior experience to IEM in the state of Florida in regards to HUD CDBG-DR direct funding allocations. GrantWorks asserts IEM had a contract terminated for default by the Pennsylvania Housing Authority in March of 2023. The fourth allegation was GrantWorks asserts pricing was not compared on an apples-to-apples basis during the presentation evaluation phase. GrantWorks protests offered 3 solutions to the county to satisfy their protest. The first was to award the full contract to GrantWorks. The second was to split the award between IEM and GrantWorks. And the third was to reject all proposals and resolicit the project. IEM did provide a response to the protest allegations. The county requested a response from IEM. Their written response included evaluator bias. The first point, that Florida case law states findings of bias must be on hard facts and not mere suspicion or innuendo. The second point, procedural errors. IEM asserts the questions provided to the county by the shortlisted proposers constituted evaluation criteria for consideration during the second phase of the evaluation. And GrantWorks failed to ask the county for clarification prior to giving their presentation. IEM also said, as far as the consideration of past experience, that IEM has provided documentation that the contract with Pennsylvania Housing Authority was terminated for convenience, not cause or default as alleged. IEM asserts the review by the HUD Inspector General was the result of a regular review and not an indication of wrongdoing on the part of IEM. IEM asserts GrantWorks was not forthcoming in their own presentation by failing to mention a finding of fraud by GrantWorks partner, Horn, LLP. In regards to pricing, IEM asserts that pricing was considered in a consistent manner with a 2-phased RFP process by awarding to best value, not low bid. The county's response, the county reconvened the evaluation committee on 7/29 to review the allocations made by both GrantWorks and the response from IEM. The evaluation committee voted to uphold their original ranking, with IEM as the sole awardee based on the following factors. Number 1, the solicitation was issued with the intent that one contractor be selected for the implementation of the action plan. Number 2, the protest letter and the response did not change the mind of any of the committee members from what it was when the original motion to award to IEM was made. And third, the intent to make the best choice for the end user of the action plan, particularly in the housing program category. Our recommendation is you uphold the decision of the county administrator to deny the protest by GrantWorks under Section 2-124G2 of the purchasing ordinance and award the contract to IEM. We have both GrantWorks and IEM here to.
All right, we're gonna, I'm gonna stop you. We're gonna take a break till Commissioner Starr gets back, so let's take a 5-minute recess.
All right.
Never mind. Oh,
No,
she's right here.
she's here.
We're good.
That was quick.
That was a quick 5 minutes. All right. We have both GrantWorks and IEM here to provide you with presentations. They both have 10 minutes to give you a presentation, and then they'll both be available, as well myself and the rest of the staff, to answer any questions you may have. They do have a hard 10 minutes for their presentation.
Top is on the ground. I do.
Commissioners, I do have a couple of
Move to receive and file.
handouts.
Call for a vote.
Okay. I'll take a motion.
Got us a motion and a second already.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, I spilled water here on official papers. Give us a second here. What are we gonna do on that? Someone's bringing towels?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
There.
No, it's all right. I've got your copy here. We get it. Okay.
Hey, Mike, can you run somebody up with napkins, paper towels?
Right here. They're coming now.
Please.
I got them.
Thank you.
There's plenty. That's probably the first time that place has been cleaned in a while.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Is that yours or mine?
That's not mine. That's not mine.
It's a save.
Go ahead, Norway.
Get it cleaned today.
Okay, we are ready.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Dylan Rivers. I'm an attorney for GrantWorks. With me are Rick Faircloth and Holly Miller with GrantWorks. We appreciate this opportunity to talk to you. You all know what this RFP is about, so I'll cut to the chase. It's $500 million is a lot of money, and there's a lot of work associated with it. So not surprisingly, the two most important criteria in the RFP were qualifications and relevant experience, and that's one, and pricing, two. The RFP was handled in two phases. As you know, my client was shortlisted along with IEM and another vendor. At the end of phase two, the evaluation committee voted 4-3 for IEM first and GrantWorks second. Now, because it was a 4-3 vote, we looked very closely at everything, and we found some important issues that we want to bring to your attention that we believe affected the outcome. You heard earlier, bias, the RFP process, relevant experience, and pricing are those issues, and I'll start with bias. There's clear evidence of bias, that at least one evaluator was predisposed in favor of IEM without regard to what was being presented by other vendors and the merits of their proposals. She said out loud in an official meeting, it was theirs to lose, referring to IEM. And her score sheet, which is up here on the screen on the left, has nothing more than anecdotal offhand comments that have absolutely nothing to do with legitimate criteria in the RFP. They're cheeky comments and they have no place in this process. Regarding the process, vendors were supposed to be, quote, evaluated anew. This is language from the RFP. Evaluated anew in phase two, based on a new set of evaluation criteria provided to the shortlisted firms in writing with their presentation invitation. Well, that didn't happen. Vendors weren't provided a new set of evaluation criteria. They were provided a list of 11 questions, and they were told to be prepared to discuss them. That's it. Those aren't evaluation criteria. And likewise, there was no scoring rubric or instructions or guidance of any kind given to the committee telling them how to evaluate and score vendor responses to these questions. It was just left up to the subjective interpretation of these committee members, and while that's not their fault, what that leads to is what the law considers arbitrary and capricious decisions. There's no actual objective criteria. It's just left up to each individual person. And you can see that one committee member on their score sheet seemed to have no idea how to evaluate the responses to these questions. There's not a single comment at all on any of them. So along with pricing, relevant experience was one of the most important criteria in the RFP, and that we believe there is a big difference between GrantWorks and IEM on this. The team proposed by GrantWorks has served every direct allocation recipient currently implementing a CDBG-DR program, like you are about to, with no adverse audit findings. On the other hand, in the last 2 years, IEM has been terminated from a contract in Pennsylvania, a significant contract, and Rebuild Florida's Hurricane Irma recovery program run by IEM is undergoing its second audit by the HUD Inspector General's office. Now, this slide shows two of the questions that were posed to vendors in phase two, one regarding audits and the other terminations. And below that are captions of information that IEM provided in its proposal to the commission, or excuse me, to the committee. Now, as we point out in our protest, IEM was terminated by the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency. And in its response, IEM said the termination was changed from a termination for cause to a termination of convenience pursuant to a memorandum of understanding that they reached with the PHFA. And the MOU does say that. But in looking at it closer, the MOU also says that the termination would be for convenience pending the outcome of an audit. And in subsequent filings in Pennsylvania, the PHFA said that IEM didn't provide requested information for the audit, and by obstructing the ability to complete the audit, quote, IEM prevented PHFA from reinstating its termination of the contract for cause pursuant to the Memorandum of Understanding, end quote. So however characterized, IEM was terminated, and the PHFA took over the program from IEM. And when it did, these are some of the things they say they found. I won't recite them for you, but you can see these are taken directly from the PHFA's counterclaim against IEM. In terms of recent Florida experience, IEM identified the Rebuild Florida's Hurricane Irma recovery program under Florida Commerce, and the reference they provided to the county was an individual who, to our understanding, hasn't been with Florida Commerce for a year and a half. Why not provide someone who's currently with Florida Commerce? This slide shows recent statements from that agency about IEM, including, quote, the agency no longer does business with this vendor, end quote. Now at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Rick Faircloth with GrantWorks to give you some more granular detail about pricing.
Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Rick Faircloth. I'm the Senior Vice President of State and Local Government Services with GrantWorks. And I'd like to start out by saying that in our 46-year history, GrantWorks has never submitted a protest before. This decision was not made lightly. However, the deeply flawed and troubling circumstances surrounding this procurement compelled us to take action. The integrity of the process matters, and we felt a responsibility to stand up for fairness and transparency. There we go. Bear with me here with technology. So I'd like to turn your attention to the slide before you. Your RFP specifically sought experience from vendors that had specific engagements with local governments implementing CDBG-DR projects of similar scope and scale within the last 5 years. As this graphic depicts on the left, the GrantWorks team has exhaustive experience across the state. IEM's team listed 0 direct Florida local government CDBG-DR contracts in its proposal submission. Not a single one. It is clear that the GrantWorks team offered the best value in terms of relevant experience. So now let's talk about best value in terms of pricing. Quality and value do matter, but so does price. For every $1 million spent on admin costs, 3 to 5 Pasco residents don't get their homes repaired or replaced, or those funds could be used for other appropriate county needs. The slide on the screen here shows a pricing comparison between GrantWorks and IEM at the oral interview. As you can see, IEM's price is over $1 million more than GrantWorks. $1 million is highly significant, yet it wasn't discussed during the scoring evaluation, nor was the fact that IEM's proposed housing program delivery schedule would take a year longer than GrantWorks. Pricing in particular seemed to be misunderstood by the evaluation committee. Now I'd like to turn your attention to a handout that we've provided you. In particular, I'd like you to look at the yellow highlighted line item here. It's called Individual Housing Programs Construction Management BCM Fee. Here, IEM has added a nearly $3 million additional cost line item at the contracting phase, $3 million. That was not disclosed in IEM's direct housing pricing submission during orals. This appears nothing more than to be a multi-million-dollar bonus IEM is working into its contract post-orals. To put a fine point on this issue, IEM went from being $1 million higher than GrantWorks on the direct housing programs during orals to potentially over $3.4 million by the time they get under contract. That's quite an escalation. So that brings us to my last slide. When determining best value, we ask ourselves, how does IEM provide best value to Pasco County when IEM's price is millions of dollars higher, IEM proposes to take 1 year longer to deliver housing relief to Pasco's citizens, and IEM's only relevant CDBG-DR implementation experience is with the state of Florida, who has publicly gone on record and stated they've performed poorly and will never work with IEM again. GrantWorks offers superior experience, better pricing, and a more efficient delivery schedule. And for these reasons, we believe GrantWorks, and not IEM, provides the best value to Pasco County. Thank you for your consideration.
How do we want to do questions? Let the other side speak first? Okay, we'll let the other side speak and then we'll.
I have a handout as well. It was included in the original RFP.
Move to receive and file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Christopher Lunny. I'm with a Rady Law Firm in Tallahassee, Florida. With me today is Tim Lagudi, the project manager here on behalf of IEM. What we want to talk about really is a question of what is a decision point here? And the decision point is, do we believe that the staff was wrong at phase 1, that the staff was wrong at phase 2, and that the county administrator was wrong during the appeal? And the answer to that is absolutely not. This RFP and these submissions were very carefully vetted throughout this process. As we're going to explain, my counterpart at GrantWorks has basically thrown 4 daggers, 2 at us and 2 at you. The 2 at you are that, you didn't understand the bias issue or that somebody was biased. We don't think that's right. And the other one is that you had a process that was flawed. We don't think that's right. With respect to us, our experience is totally defensible. And the pricing is a very interesting issue because, frankly, we're going to explain to you how they missed the price concept entirely. They printed this off and ran it on 800 homes. We ran it on 1,050. So there is a delta there, but it's because they did not do the math right. In the end, GrantWorks has the burden of proof here. GrantWorks has to show you that this law and this process compels a different result. We don't think that happens. With respect to bias, there's absolutely no evidence of bias. One offhand comment from one evaluator does not connote bias in the process. In this case, this evaluator was talking about our past experience. In page 7G of the RFP, it required them to consider our past experience. And what was our past experience? Well, we helped the county with the action plan. And the action plan was one of 51 grants. HUD said it was one of the best they saw, so we frankly thought our experience spoke for itself on that issue. But this was a close vote. It's not a vote indicative of bias. A 4-3 vote shows that there is no outside influence. There was no rules violated here, and there's no evidence of clear wrongdoing. All right, the county's procedures. The county did say that the questions would be posed for oral presentation, that those would be the evaluation criteria, and that's exactly what it was. They were posed as questions, but they were timely and importantly considered. One of those questions was go ahead and build out a pricing model. So it was frankly a prudent process. And as far as those questions were concerned, at the end of the invitation to come present, it said if you have any concerns you're not clear in any way, you can ask the purchasing director. So if they had any concern about, well, how is this weighted or how's that weighted, they could have contacted the purchasing director. There's no evidence they did that. They just missed it. They didn't understand the 11 questions. We got it. We understood the 11 questions. Frankly, there was also some suggestion in the paperwork here that the administrator shouldn't have sent this back to the evaluation committee once they had the protest. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Why not send it back to the subject matter experts and say, this is the protest, what do you think? In this case, the county's ordinance says that the criteria was to be considered anew, but that also the administrator here was to have a fair, transparent process. It actually says a fair and equitable manner, that he was to decide it in a fair and equitable manner. That's discretion given to this administrator, and the administrator did exactly what they should. Sent it back and said, what do you think? Nobody changed their vote, and the administrator affirmed the decision. Pricing. I don't find this incredibly baffling. The pricing issue at phase one was basically hourly rates. The county had an Excel spreadsheet. The spreadsheet had some preloaded criteria for some specific positions, and bidders were informed that they could augment that with other positions. It's exactly what happened. If you look at the Q&A that the county produced here in an amendment, there were a lot of questions about pricing. People wanted to understand that, and this was a fully developed issue. In phase two, the county did something I thought was fantastic. They said, okay, go ahead and give us, instead of the hourly rates, go ahead and ballpark what your project is. How's it gonna work? IEM ballparked it based on the action plan, and that's what you should do. IEM ballparked it at 800 homes under RRE and 250 under the manufactured housing. That's 1,050 homes. Their pricing is based off of 800. They say, well, for us, it's going to take 3 years. That's not true. It's actually 30 months. But it's 6 more months than what they had, which is 24 months. Now, I went to law school, so I'm not the best at math, but I got to tell you, it's a 20% increase from 800 to 1,000. And so, you know, frankly, the fact that they're comparing us within $1 million delta is compelling. It tells you that if they actually built their paradigm right, if they read the action plan, they would have gotten it right, and their number would have been sky high. By our projection, it'd be something like 24 million. This ultimately, too, is a best value RFP. There's a lot of talk about apples and oranges, and you know, we got to do this comparison, but this procurement instrument was overall the best value. What is the county buying when we look at this whole picture? And that makes sense. As you've heard today, this is a complex picture. It involves planning, development. There's all sorts of money set aside for hardening these communities. These folks clearly need that. And so it's a complex process where you really gauge it on best value. So although there's a lot of talk about price being determinative, that's not the case. The track record. IEM has done business in Florida for 20 years. We have 80 contracts that we've completed with task orders total. The IEM CEO lives in Tallahassee for as long as I've known him, and he's a former director of emergency management. If you look at the Rebuild Florida program, this was a massive program. We all know what happened in Hurricane Irma. The hurricane went right up I-75. It caused a tremendous amount of damage. And IEM took that project over on a 6-year contract and completed that project. There was a $1.3 billion program, 3,700 homes, 8,000 residents. Overall, we have this in our proposal, but you talk about all the different aspects of this company, 600 clients nationwide, 1,000 contracts. They clearly know what they're doing. And this program was a success as well. Quite honestly, you know, our experience, I think, can match with anybody. When you talk about this process, you're also talking about every home that we did over this 6-year period had to go through multiple layers of approval. Had to have the county look at it. We had third-party quality assurance people. It was a big deal. And so we're actually very comfortable with the Rebuild Florida program. I passed around what really was page 18 to our exhibit because I noticed GrantWorks put us up with sort of this hollow Florida. Yes, ma'am, that's actually page 18. I don't know if you all had it in a redacted form or not, but that's really what our material showed, which was the extent to which there was work done under CBDG. Now, let me speak also briefly to this Pennsylvania issue. Number one, it wasn't a community block development program. Absolutely not. Number two, the whole issue here was a question about whether or not there was a termination of a contract, and we answered that. We answered it, and they put the answer up. There was no termination for cause. There were 2 terminations for convenience. IEM was not replaced in Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania Housing Finance Authority took that project back. If they called me tomorrow and said, Chris, how would you describe this? I would say call it a termination for convenience. That's what it was. This never changed. It's never changed. And then if they said, okay, they took it back, and I would say, well, no one replaced you, then I would say, you know, that's what it is. You took it in-house. That's exactly how they answered it. There's no lack of candor in responding to that question. You are the company that you keep. And in this case, look at the 7 vendors that we're bringing to the table. Many of them have Pasco-specific experience. We've got Nam McKay in here, Tetra Tech, Terracon. These are names familiar with Pasco County because they do business in Pasco County. But beyond that, we're leveraging up. We're bringing in people like Deloitte. These are people that have tremendous resources to bear to help the county in a time when I think the county does need some assistance. If nothing else this morning, I feel like our client will work remarkably well with your very gifted Public Works folks. It's really an honor to be able to do this work. GrantWorks hasn't established any single reason that you should reverse these decisions of the staff or the administrator. And it's clear to me, as we're driving around, we're still seeing blue tarp, we're still seeing stormwater. These folks need the help. We're ready, willing, and able to give it. Thank you for your time.
Are we allowed to ask him a question or no?
Okay, yes, now's the time to ask questions.
So, the other GrantWorks has suggested that you would take a year longer for completion. Can you explain that to me?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Commissioner Yeager, for that question. It's a great question. It goes back to the pricing issue. Remember, I told you that we bid the pricing based on your action plan. And so that was 1,050 structures. That would take us in our estimate, and these are estimates. We all know this is estimates, but that was a 30-month period, not 3 years. It's 30 months to do 1,050. I could probably get Mr. Lagudi up here to say that, you know, on 800 homes, we could probably do it in 2 years or less, but that's not the action plan. So GrantWorks, by our calculation, and we have numbers that we can share, they ran their numbers off a different subset. So they base it on 800 homes and not 1,050, which is what the action plan requires.
Just one last question. So when you see their chart for money here, with the difference from like $1 million to 3.4 million, are you saying they didn't do the math right, or is that truly?
100%. Didn't do the math right. That's the first time I've seen that today. I've given the board the material that we provided at the outset. I kind of came to this thinking this is an appeal and that there wasn't going to be all sorts of fresh new information, but here we are. So responding to your question, Commissioner, as best I can, is yes, I think the math is dead wrong, and Mr. Lagudi can probably explain it better than me. I'm assured he's not a history major.
Okay. The one thing you cleared it up, but the one thing I just want to say about the year time difference is time is money. So like if you are taking a longer time, cost of goods and services go up, which then again, you know, we take from the taxpayer. So I just want to make sure that, you know, that's a point that you would be in a timely fashion and.
Message received, Commissioner.
Huh?
Message received. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Mariano.
Yes, sir. I have a question for you. I have a series of them.
I'm feeling popular.
Yeah. So when I look at the letter from the housing agency in Pennsylvania, it says in here there was agency reserved to maintain the right to obligation to terminate for cause if the facts warranted such a termination for cause. Listening to GrantWorks, it says that the way it was written, that they were not going to be able to do that. Let me just go a little further. And based upon the facts gathered during the transition since January as a performance IAM, during the transition of their operation, the agency staff taken over, it unfortunately has become evident the agency must terminate for cause. One of the reasons was, or the reason stated here, report dated February 23rd, 2023, is IAM had only processed 6,036 application of the 10,281 assigned upon receiving the notice in January, and still has 4,245 applications still need to be processed. Given that performance, would make sense why it's reversed. Now, the letter that you had sent for us to read, you've got all sorts of different court cases, documents, et cetera, citing your reasons why you're justifying everything. I'm a little scared that if you guys perform this in this way here, we're at a big risk on how you're going to perform here. So the way they phrased it, is the only reason you weren't terminated for cause was because of that memorandum of understanding was written, and it prevented them from doing so. Do you dispute that?
I think so, Commissioner, and I'll tell you this. I mean, this wasn't a court case. This wasn't a litigation. This is their internal administrative remedy process. So this has been called sort of a court case, but it is an internal remedy process dealing with payment issues. And my understanding of this contract was that there was sort of a percentage payment, and that the parties disagreed about that. And there were exchanges. There's a history that's laid out where there was a letter and then a retraction. And to date, they've never really done that. I don't know why they couldn't try to say there was a termination for cause, but they never have. The one thing that has come out in that case so far is that IEM prevailed on each and every change order, to my knowledge, and that was also one of the issues in dispute was the change orders.
Well,
So
let me go back to the factual stuff that's just as far as performance goes. You were given 10,000 assignments, 6,000 got done, means like about 40% didn't get done. And that's what they're floating on. And this contract was started on October 7th of 2021, and by the end of March 8th, 2023, they were frustrated so much to write the letter, and in January 28th, they actually wrote a letter, which was only 15 months into a contract that I don't know how long it could have gone on for, but clearly there's a problem with your performance there for them to want to end the contract, whether you say by cause or not. There's clearly a problem of work not getting done that was supposed to get done.
So Commissioner Mariano, keep this in mind too, which is when we were responding to that, we were focusing on the question that was being asked of us, which was there a termination for cause? And we answered that question. What you're seeing here is one side's presentation of this. Now, I'm not a Pennsylvania attorney. I'm not handling that case. But I firmly believe that there will be a different set of facts there, because just like every other payment dispute, someone's going to say you're behind, someone's going to say you're ahead. Keep in mind, too, this is a company with a 20-year track record. We are looking at a Pennsylvania issue. If you do disaster recovery over 20 years, there is going to be something that comes up. This isn't a community block race, community development block grant program. And so I would urge you to look at it contextually. I'll see if Mr. Lagudi has any other information on.
Well, hang on to that, because you're saying, I'm not even referring to grant works at this point. I'm referring to the whereas resolution that's here. And it basically, it says, failing to adopt the contractually required statement of work, which included tasks, timelines, milestones, deliverable payment schedule, and program metrics, failing to adopt policies, procedures governing the startup PAHAF program, causing inefficiency, delay, damages, failing to pay agreed upon out-of-scope work or change order and work, and failing to refusing to timely pay invoices for contract work dating back to October 1, 2022. So this is like information that's in the resolution that you both had signed. I'm not taking from grant works. I'm just going from what I've got here that's signed by both.
Commissioner, I understand that. I would also tell you that the evaluation committee looked at the subcontractor here for grant works and the U.S. Attorney's Office, publication in their press release that found that Horn created an applicant file for each person with a fictitious birth date, social security number, fake signatures on legal documents.
We're going to deal with that, but I want to deal with your situation right now.
Yeah, well, we haven't been accused of fraud, so I think.
No, but you were, again, terminated, and initially it was going to be for cause. You did a great job negotiating, or someone did, so it wasn't for cause, and it was just for convenience.
And Commissioner, my understanding in speaking and communicating with the Pennsylvania Council on this is that this matter is ongoing. It hasn't reached a conclusion, that the only interim conclusion that's happened so far is that the change orders that were disputed were granted in our favor. But I don't have the level of detail on the delays that you're referencing on that MAU, and I'd be happy to try to supplement that.
You ever read that?
I have read it.
Okay. All right, I'm good.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to have a question for you, but I think mine will be for the other group first. Commissioner Wait.
My question is for staff.
Okay.
All things being apples to apples, for number of units, 1,050, the other firm's at 800. What's the price per home?
I don't know the price per home, but there were 800 homes, single-family homes, repair, reconstruct, or elevate in that category. The other 250 was from a manufactured home replacement program.
So there's no way to break out roughly the price per unit?
I don't have that information, but I could.
I mean, I guess where my frustration is with this, $500 million of taxpayer money was sent down here to help our taxpayers. And now we gotta take taxpayer money to pay $32 million or whatever for a firm. And the only one winning out of this whole ordeal are the firms that are gonna manage this. To me, it's absurd that we have to spend tens of millions of dollars to tell one governing body who gives us money to tell another governing body, when it's all our money anyway, on how to spend it. Which is quite frustrating to me. And I don't personally have an opinion on who's going to do it the best. Since there's so few firms that are in this space, I'd really like some clarity from staff on who's offering the best price here. This $3.4 million discrepancy. Now, the other firm's talking about it's only $1 million. I want some clarity from our folks.
So when the RFP committee got done with their work and they recommended IEM as the preferred vendor, we had some work to do because there were some things in their scope that we wanted to change. What they proposed was good enough for us to really understand that we had the right partner, but they were putting, they were heavy in some areas on staffing, light in other areas. So we had to do some juggling around with that. And one of the areas in particular was the individual housing program. When you're dealing with homeowners and fixing their homes, you get down to a level that is incredibly detailed and incredibly staff intensive. And we want to have a very lean internal team. So in order to keep that, we needed them to go heavier on that piece. And that's where that extra funding came in. Other areas, they dropped the funding. And some of the other project management type of projects, we asked them to reduce because we know that we have good teams in place at the county that can manage those types of projects. So that's really where the discrepancy was. It went up in some areas and went down in other areas. I can tell you this, we're at, as a percentage of the entire grant, we're paying the proposal is to pay our vendor about 5.5%.
Thank you. You don't have to do the
of the total contract, of the total grant. I'm sorry, 5.5% of the total grant. The others that we don't have a lot of comparative data, but we have comparative data from Pinellas County, and they're up around 10.5%. We got information from Lee County today. They don't have a not-to-exceed contract. Expenditures to date, they're at about 12% of the grant. So I think we're in a pretty good place, comparatively speaking, against those other contracts.
Can I ask a question following up on your point, which is a very good question?
It's
when I saw that number, I took my breath away.
32 million.
Yeah, but 5%.
We're public, it's out of our pockets, and have to have a private firm tell us how to spend our money. Principally, I just have have a very difficult time swallowing that sand spur, which is what it is.
But is that all for management of the grant, or is that for some other stuff? Is it just management fees?
It's management of the grant. It's oversight of construction. It's casework, hiring case managers. It's all of the things that are needed that we need them to do in order to keep our staff lean. Reporting, they're gonna provide us with the documentation we need.
Davis Bacon garbage?
Davis Bacon.
About it.
Davis Bacon doesn't apply to the it doesn't apply to the individual housing programs. So there's no cost for Davis Bacon in that program, and that's the most expensive program for them to manage. Yeah. About 75% of their fee is in the individual housing program. No Davis Bacon applies. Okay. When Davis Bacon does apply to some of the projects, we plan to build that cost into the project.
Do you mind now if I ask my question? Okay, so in doing my little bit of research, and I think there's flaws in both companies, and we'll get to talk about Horn here. It's a co-application here between Grant Works and Horn. It's just not just Grant Works. Looking at my little research in IEM and maybe the others too, that I would, is it performance-based? Do we pay as they perform? Because I don't want to put all this money out in management and not have the performance running alongside.
They're going to perform the work, and they're going to submit payment, requests for payments to us for reimbursement.
But there's milestones and you know, we're protected.
What's the change orders?
We're protected that it's not heavy on administration before any house gets fixed. Because my understanding is that was a problem with the state.
I mean,
I just want to make sure we've written.
Chuck, is this a time and materials contract?
it's a time and materials contract. Mostly hourly staff rates. That's really what it comes down to. It's about how much time they put into the project.
That's not my question, I don't think. Not, my question is,
So my team's job is going to be oversight. We are going to perform constant oversight. Everything that's delivered, all the documentation that's produced, that's the lion's share of what my team of the work my team will do.
That's reimbursable.
okay,
Yes.
but I just want to be sure we're not paying out managed fees and not getting houses done at the same rate. I mean, I just want there to be, they don't get paid till someone's house is fixed, you know what I mean? Or that there's some kind of matrix going along with
Well, they're not-
payments and work done.
They're not going to get paid until work's done. Whether or not a house is completed, there may be interval draws, but they're not going to get paid unless work is done.
Commissioner Yeager.
Is there anything in the contract where if they're not holding up their end of the bargain that we can terminate with them?
I believe so. Ms. Lloyd, or Carrie?
Yes, ma'am. We have the ability to terminate any of our contracts for convenience with a set notice, but we can terminate for cause typically within 30 days if we have a cause.
Okay, I just don't want to see something like we had with the jail where we're, you know, we're needing more money and we're going back for plans and we're kind of in a position where we're stuck.
Yes, ma'am. We do have those out clauses.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Say we get into a contract and we have to terminate for convenience. This isn't one of these contracts where there's a settlement at the end to get one firm to walk away and bring in another one?
No.
Or there's a fee?
No, but all of our contracts do have the clause that says if we have to go somewhere else and there's a cost difference, that we do have the ability to go back against you if you were terminated for cause.
There's a bond on this?
No. I don't believe so, Karen, was there? No, there was, you don't bond professional services.
Then what your statement of go back against you meaning?
We typically write a clause in that says if, for example, we are hiring you to do a $100 sidewalk and you walk away, we have to terminate you and it costs us $120 to do the sidewalk, we can come back and bill you for the extra $20.
Gotcha. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
I want you to really consider this, because look what happened in Pennsylvania. They left 40% of the work didn't get done. They fire the letter off, they're going to be fired for cause. These guys do a masterful job litigating and get it for convenience and get it set into that memorandum where they couldn't then go back and even change that or do anything against that whole process. Look at what we went through with Rad Sports. We were out-lawyered. They didn't perform whatsoever, and those details weren't in the contract, and guess what? We had the fight.
Also, I want to make sure we have very tight.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you aren't 100% tight, and I don't know what expertise you think we've got to go write this contract, but if you don't write that contract absolutely perfect all the way through, these guys are going to beat us in court.
Any
We're going to
company.
pay, and it's going to be costly.
I want, this
I mean,
is so
they
important in our
cited
community.
10 different court things in just the response back to Grant Works protest. I mean, these guys are skilled. They are going to eat our lunch if they fight us.
I say any contract that we do with this amount of money, we got to send to like the top law firm to just look at the contract.
No, I mean,
I want a
the
exit
Sharks-
strategy all along the way.
You have this kind of cash that's clear. The sharks are circling.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
so
I'm
we
calling
need more
Across
eyes on our contract.
Anybody who wants a piece of this is a shark. Circling.
So I have a question for Grant Works, because commissioners, if you submitted with Horn, and maybe you wish you hadn't now, but you did, and that's what is on your submission, and Horn is being kicked out of many states for fraud, and that's their partner. So what's happening there?
That's actually not true. I have a,
No.
a letter from the state of West Virginia that's a permanent withdrawal of that debarment issue that's been surfacing. But more importantly, this is a deflection of the prime and the prime's obligation. GrantWorks is the sole prime, just like IEM is the sole prime. GrantWorks has never been terminated for cause in its 46-year history. We were very forthcoming. We don't pursue litigation against our clients. We're purpose-driven, we're mission-led. We believe in what we do, and we do what we say. You know, we've been focusing on, you know, subcontractors and Pennsylvania, but let's look at what is happening right here in this fine state of Florida on the Rebuild Florida Irma program. It's all over the news right here in Tampa Bay. I mean, during the procurement, there were news investigation reports going on about the Rebuild Florida Irma program. It's in your handout. These aren't our words. These aren't our allegations. These are just real things and real people that are suffering. So, and I'd also like to make a clarification. The attorney for IEM misrepresented GrantWorks in our numbers. We, of course, read the action plan, and our numbers and our estimates were based on the action plan. So I feel like there's a real misrepresentation there. There was no apples to apples comparison in the pricing in either phase, and there was total confusion about what the pricing really represented. IEM's phase 1 pricing, which was an hourly rate schedule, excluded like 18 or 19 of their total positions, including the program manager, the chief of staff, and all their core senior advisors. Like, you know, if it doesn't include your program manager, what's the purpose of the pricing submission? So I would urge you all to strongly consider reviewing a renewed BAFO between the firms. And let's really line up item for item what each firm is offering and let Pasco County get the best value for its citizens.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sir, so you bid 1,050 homes?
Yes. There was a split between single-family homes and MHUs. Yes, sir.
Single-family homes and what?
MHUs, manufactured housing
Gotcha.
units. Yes.
So to our staff, why can't we figure out what it is per unit? If they bid apples, if each firm bid 1,050 homes, as GrantWorks is claiming they bid, and IEM, why can't we figure out what it is per unit? Nothing?
Well, I'm waiting for an answer. Is someone doing the math?
Question was,
No, you have to,
No, I want this to come from Pasco County staff.
yeah.
question was to staff. Sir, he's asked for staff to, thank you.
Sorry.
So price per home, is that the question?
Yes.
Okay.
He's
Well,
saying he bid the same as the other. They just wrote it different.
And we've gotten conflicting, you know, different price sheets up here. The county's supposed to kind of be the intervening body into this. What are we at? If each one bid, what's the price difference between the two bids? $500,000? So if they're each bid for 1,050 units based on the split of manufactured homes in the single fam, what's it come down to?
Well, IEM, their price per home, now it's gonna fluctuate obviously per home, but I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's about $22 million that they're charging us for the for the individual home program, and it's 1,050 units.
Okay, what's the other firm? So
Well, the other firm, we weren't able to have that negotiation about where we need their services more heavily, so I don't think it's reliable. And I don't have it off the top of my head. But we had to work with IEM to.
Good.
We had to work with IEM after the preferred, they were determined to be the preferred vendor. We had to work with them on shifting their priorities and their manpower because we needed them to focus more on the individual housing program. That's why that cost went up.
If I may interject,
I don't think
perhaps,
that's his question.
Carrie, if you could please explain what the selection criteria were. I mean, pricing, Carrie?
This was
This
an
is
RFP,
it's a
not a
request.
bid.
Yeah, it's not a bid, correct. I wanted to get that on the record as to what the differences were.
Yes.
And explain why the pricing sheet at least was, I guess, one of your evaluation factors, but there are others. Could you please?
Yes, sir.
So when you look at the totals, Carrie, what's the total price difference between the two firms?
Sir, that's very hard to answer because we did do the first round of initial pricing, and then we came back and had the second round of pricing. Then we went and actually negotiated final pricing with IEM. We never did a final negotiation of pricing with GrantWorks, so we don't know where their pricing would have fallen if they had had all of the information IEM had during negotiations.
I owe you an apology, Chuck, since it didn't go that far. Just say, my bad, Chuck. I thought you knew something more than you did.
No,
So,
appreciate
my
that, sir.
apology.
Thank you.
So, Carrie,
Yes, sir.
so there's no way to really answer that question.
Yes, sir, correct.
Ah.
Okay.
Carrie, explain to the board the RFP process, because I think that's where they're confusing the
Sure.
bidding process, which is what they've had protests recently on.
Correct.
And the RFP
Yes.
process.
So the main difference between a bid and an RFP is in a bid, we know exactly what we want, and we go out and we say, how much are these clickers? And they give us pricing for these clickers. When we do an RFP, we know we want something that when we push, it's going to advance slides. But we're not sure exactly how we want to approach it, or we want to see what they have to offer. So we come up with a set of scored evaluation criteria, and we get proposals in, and we tell them you're going to be judged on X, Y, and Z for this point, this point, this point. Then when we hold that evaluation committee, the committee has already looked at the proposals, and they've given preliminary scores as to how they feel the written proposals met those criteria. The committee then discusses all of the proposals they received, and if they are happy with their scores, they hit submit. If not, they have an opportunity to manipulate their scores based on what they've heard in the room, and that's when we have a final score. From that point, we shortlist, and sometimes we shortlist to 2, 3, depends on where there's a natural break in the scoring. If we have 3 or 4 that are in, the high 800s, and the next one down is 600. We don't see that one down because there's no point to it really. So we see that natural break. We bring them back in for presentations. We provide them with a list of questions that's developed by the committee at their meeting. So when they shortlist, they sit around and they say, okay, what else based on the written proposals do we want to see from these companies? And that's where that set of questions comes from. Yes, sir.
So, how in the world is GrantWorks able to come up with a line item list like this?
Because we gave them basic parameters as to what we were looking for.
So they're comparing it, they're obviously comparing it, sorry, Nikki,
No, you're fine.
to their line items that they have, but the county hasn't seen it?
Have we seen?
They're
your line
comparing,
item
they're
stuff?
comparing IEMs to theirs, and so our staff hasn't seen GrantWorks?
No, sir, we would not have seen that. No, sir, we did not get a copy of that paper until today.
Wow.
I have a question for.
So, we can't even get a professional recommendation then on the GrantWorks side, so this is just hyperbole.
Let's wait for a good answer.
Commissioner
All right.
Yeager, if Wakeman's okay.
I'm done, thank you.
Commissioner
Okay,
Yeager.
so I have a question for staff. So I feel like GrantWorks kind of deflected on Commissioner Starkey's question about Horn being kind of kicked out of North Carolina, but then IEM, you see the letter here that they didn't do what they were supposed to do for Irma. So
Yes, ma'am. And from a staff perspective, we have 2 companies that both threw mud at each other. And
Yeah.
it's really up to you all as the board to decide what mud you think is thicker and what's going to stick. Because
just really-
we're not
I'm-
going to ever find a perfect vendor that doesn't
Yeah.
have any
And-
blemishes.
I understand. I just, for our citizens, like, it's just them getting back on their feet and rebuilding is the most important thing. And just thinking about the money, if it's cheaper, that makes up our 0.03 mil.
It's all, to me, it's all in the contract and what, make sure we dot our i's and cross our t's. Commissioner Mariano.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to have GrantWorks information looked at and verified. When I look at the overall, the overall sheets for the scoring sum for all the numbers, when you look at all the slots going across, they're all very close. One point where GrantWorks comes ahead as far as experience goes, there are about 15 points higher, from 226 to 241. So the scores are very close to there. It's edge to GrantWorks on experience. On the, Gary, this is for you. So I'm looking at the scoring sheets, and it shows the scoring from IEM to GrantWorks. GrantWorks is at 241 for minimum qualifications and relevant experience out of a 250, and IEM is lower at 226. The one big difference between them comes out to tab E, quality, cost, and controls. So I'm wondering how there's 50 points difference in your opinion to how that number comes out.
That would be based on the individual scores by the evaluation committee, sir. Oh, and yes, sir, that was a section that was truncated because we did have a 50-page limit, and GrantWorks did provide more than 50 pages, so we had to take everything over 50 pages out of their proposal. So the committee did not see the entire proposal because GrantWorks did not follow the rules.
And it's common for you to do that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so here's a problem with the commonality for that to happen. Now you're taking the information that would give you
Well,
something.
that's their fault. They didn't follow the rules.
But hey, someone made a decision on what pages to take out, and it cost them 50 points, which would have been the difference from
Sir.
one winning to the other.
Sir, we take out,
I'm
we
just
take
saying,
out everything after
arbitrarily.
50.
Pardon me. Arbitrarily, they made what
No, it
decision?
wasn't
No, it's not arbitrary.
No,
Not at
it's
all.
arbitrary what pages they took out of the
They took out the
submission.
last 30 pages.
That's right. It's
Anything over page.
anything over their page limit,
Yeah.
it's the same thing you get
Hey,
in court.
man,
Anything
wants to
over
read
your
80
page
pages?
limit gets thrown out.
Here, so, look, it was 3 to 4 or 4 to 3. It was close. So I can understand GrantWorks trying to get in. But I think some of the questions you're asking cannot be discussed because this is an RFP, not a bid, first of all. And you can speak to
Well,
that. But here's something that strikes in my mind, something that GrantWorks said, and I think we probably would have been fine with either one of these companies. But frankly, when I look at what GrantWorks is doing, they're all over the state. How much capacity can a company have? I'd rather have someone that will pay a little, will be their big dog, and they'll pay a lot of attention to the citizens in our county.
And that shouldn't be considered either.
Well, sorry,
so-
pretend I didn't say that, but that's kind of how I feel.
So, but back to Commissioner Mariano's point. So, in an RFP, you negotiate with with whoever has been ranked number one on price. You don't negotiate with both 1 and 2 on price. So you're locked into unless the deal falls apart with number 1, that's the only one you get full pricing information on. That's the way this process works.
So with the page here that shows the cost went up from the orals, from the first set of orals to now, it shows they're up $3 million. And you said you've had to add some things in there that didn't have in there, project managers, et cetera. Was that factored into your decision-making as far as the negotiations? Did you just raise up our price $3 million because they didn't have some things in there that should have been in there?
The big thing that impacted that number was we talked about this in one of our negotiation sessions. We wanted them to have a higher responsibility in individual housing program. So they gave us a proposal and they told us, we'll write it up for you at the next meeting, and it's about total management of the contractor pool. What we didn't want as a county is we didn't want to contract with contractors that were going into people's homes and doing the repairs. We wanted to be removed from that. So the contractor will contract with IEM on that project. And they're going to manage the contractor pool entirely and do all the billing and the construction oversight. They're going to run that program because it's so staff intensive with a lean team. We're unable to do that.
All right, so knowing that, from the orals to the next meeting that you had as far as for the debate, did that come up at that point? At any point?
That
They
didn't come up.
have those things in there?
That didn't come up during the RFP negotiation, the RFP
Not
committee
negotiation, I'm
discussions.
saying on the presentations and the submissions, did it have in that data, or was it left out?
No, we did know that it would be a higher number on the housing pool. As we get into these projects, as we get into these proposals, and particularly when we had IEM as the preferred bidder, we really that's when we really developed and understood what we were looking for and what we needed, because it just wasn't that simple.
So before, so after the decision's made by the committee
Yes, sir.
and through this process, now we're digging into the details as far as what we're missing, what we need, and how we want to do it?
Yes, sir.
Is there
And-
something wrong with that?
No, sir, because what we
Not in
do
your mind.
is we find the best match for what we're looking for, and then we get into the actual particulars. Because sometimes we're not sure exactly what we are looking for until we get to that negotiation phase. So we look at the overall proposals, the overall experience, and the general pricing that they gave us when we make that decision.
I'm going to disagree with you because, as he said, from what they submitted is not going to work for us to do what we want to do, should have been in discussions and should have been discussed from the get-go, even in the second stage with this process.
Can I say something?
Commissioner Yeager.
Yeah, and this is just an in general statement, is when we first discussed this, I had asked if we could be on the committee to help choose this. Because it was such a large amount of money, and here we are. I trust your process, but I also trust us as a commission.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have a voice. And moving forward, if we ever get blessed with this amount of money, I hope we have a say, honestly.
So that is, I'm sorry, ma'am. That's why we come to you with a recommendation. In a world where you were making the decision, if you had been the evaluation committee, this protest could not have been heard by this body. We would have had to go straight to court. So there would have been an injunction. It would have been months, years before we could have moved forward. That's why we do it at a staff level, to give you all the protest appeal.
So this was an RFP.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
now we enter into negotiations with a contract with IEM.
Yes, ma'am. We have done that, and the contract is attached.
Okay, but we are the ones that are going to be approved that contract, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's what we're asking you to do is.
Well,
hold
I
my
want to
decision.
know with that contract, if we have the insurances that, at least I want to know if you put in what I've asked for, and that is, you know what? I need more eyes on that contract. I need outside eyes on that contract. No offense to our county attorneys,
Madam
but
Chairman,
I know.
and that's,
Get in trouble.
that's perfectly okay, but you're here on a protest. You need to make a decision on the protest.
Okay, but I don't
before
have
we
to
can-
approve the contract?
Before we can discuss the contract, I would do it as separate motion.
The only thing is, I don't want this to be held up because we need to start working. So in that contract, do we have non-performance outs?
Madam Chairman, I'll say it again. Based on what I'm hearing, you need to decide on the protest.
Okay. All right, let's,
And then we can talk about
all right, I'll
what
take
you
a
want
motion.
done with the
If
contract.
anyone's ready, and
Can
then
we,
I want to talk
can
about.
we take a break for about 10, 15 minutes? I want to go look to this Horn situation, and I've just sent some email information from my assistant looking up to what's going on there, and I'll share it with everybody too, but I think we should look at that, just to see what's there.
I'd rather information regarding the protest be from your staff or from the two people, the protester and the proposer. I just think you're building problems into the hearing if you start getting information mid-hearing outside.
May I submit what that outlawyered thing?
I discussed earlier.
Yeah. Move to receive and file.
Second?
All in favor?
Do you have copies for everybody?
Yes, sir.
So real quick, a question for county staff, just going back. So like when we hired a lobbyist and we got to hear and that's all I said earlier, we're not allowed to hear these companies' presentations because if it went to court? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am, that's the process, is if you all are the committee, and for that lobbyist, had you all decided that you wanted one company and one company protested, we would not have been able to bring it to you as the board. We would have had to stop work, and we would have had to go to court. We would have had to have judges involved, et cetera.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
If one of the companies doesn't like the decision, can they still go to court?
if they can find a reason to challenge your decision, but the protests are, you have a lot of discretion in both the
that's what they
award
just-
and your decision in the protest.
Thank you.
That wouldn't be a very wise move.
No.
Then they have to work with us, and they're just taking more from the taxpayer. That would be a very unwise move from either firm, in my opinion.
We have material that explains how we got to their calculations, if that helps. If it doesn't, that's fine. On the number of
Statements have to be on the record or they're not going to be captured.
You have paperwork to submit?
If we're supplementing the record,
Move to
then,
receive and file.
Let's see, and what are we receiving in file?
so this is the analysis that we did that yielded that they were quoting on 800 homes versus 1,050. It just explains it in more detail.
Motion's on the table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm not sure that it could be relevant because that was a proposal and they've gone to a, they've
But
gone
it was
more in depth.
information that
In
the
the-
protester submitted, and he's trying to
Refute.
rebut it.
Okay, all right, go ahead, let's get it.
I'll do one you did.
You're Judge Catherine right now.
Hey, I've sat on these committees when I was on the school board and it's not a good thing.
You're ugly.
Madam
For the
Chair, for
record.
GrantWorks, I have a question.
There's 2
Yeah, I'll
pages,
share
so
mine.
let us look at it for a second, Jack. Yeah, and I'll have a question too. Okay, Commissioner Mariano.
First, I'm sure they didn't want to see a copy of this. On the debarment letter, what's the status of Horn? Were they fined, were they disciplined, or what?
They settled with the state of West Virginia. They paid a fine. They admitted no fault. And the state of West Virginia, as evidenced by this letter dated September 4th, 2025, is a permanent withdrawal of notice of debarment.
They paid like 1.2 million.
I believe that's correct, yes.
What about North Carolina?
They are currently delivering the state's CDBG-DR program and are in very good standing with the state of North Carolina. And really, I apologize for the mudslinging that you commented. It's really an unfortunate byproduct of this industry, and it's not very nice. That being said, IEM is also coming to you today with a teaming partner, a subcontractor who's running the infrastructure program, Tetra Tech, that was terminated from Sarasota County's CDBG-DR program recently here in Florida, in the state of Florida. So we didn't go down that road until today, but if we're gonna, cast stones, it's out there. So that's why we wanted to focus on the prime contract holders, which is GrantWorks and IEM.
Maybe we just need it in-house. I don't know.
Madam Chair, may I be heard very briefly? It's not about.
Okay, go ahead.
Not about this person or that person. I wanted to address a point that was brought up by your counsel, and I believe it's correct that if the commission were to be involved in the selection process,
Oh, yeah.
you'd be recused from.
Yeah.
But that same logic applies as to why this, first of all, it's not in your procurement ordinances or procurement manual. Why we file a protest pointing out what we believe were problems, and then it's submitted to the same people to say, do you think you did anything wrong? That's the same logic and the same problem. I mean, we're pointing out that we think you didn't understand some things. There may have been some bias. There may have been some problems. And it's given back to them and say, did you do anything wrong? The same logic applies. There were no independent eyes laid on these allegations
I think our
until right
county
now in this moment.
administrator was not on the committee, and he looked at it. Right? It goes to you first.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. So the process was that it went back to the committee. The committee made their recommendation, but all the information was provided to Mr. Carbala, and Mr. Carbala made the final protest denial decision, not the committee.
It's hard to tell.
And the only other point I wanted to make is with regard to Commissioner Whiteman's question, there is a way to resolve that. We be given the opportunity to submit a price.
Commissioner Mariano, do you still want a 10-minute I mean, do we want a 10-minute, or what do we want, guys? It's just a mess.
Can't get outside.
I hate these.
Question for county attorney. So because of the RFP process, and this is obviously a very unique circumstance.
Can you talk into your mic? It's
Sorry. This is a unique circumstance, and this is an RFP process. But there is no way with these procurement parameters that we can't go and do a best and final.
Not unless if you had rejected IEM, you could have gone to GrantWorks and negotiated with them, but you have to reject your primary, the number 1 ranked person, before you get to talk to the number 2 ranked person.
But then,
so you can't put the 2 of them up to bid against each other.
And if you kick out number 1 and you go to number 2 and you can't resolve things with them, you can't go back to number 1. So
there's no best and final on this between the two.
No, these are qualification-based selections.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
I'd like staff to take some time and go look at these 2 things we've got here. They're both about pricing.
Okay, can you recap? Because we've gone down past.
Why don't you put up the 4 points of contention, and let's
Yes.
go through those.
Just remember what, because I've strayed, others here have strayed. Recap for us the parameters of our decision-making.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Gina. Thank you. I know, right? Nope, go back. That one. So evaluator bias. The statute says that it has to be actual hard facts finding of evaluator bias, not innuendo or conjecture. In this case, it was a statement made by a committee member prior to the voting. Each committee member was instructed that they are to give their own opinions. Committees do have varying opinions, which is why we have a committee-based.
Would you repeat what that bias statement was?
The bias statement was something to the effect of, this is IEM's to lose.
And how many were on the committee?
7. For the procedural errors, the concern about not getting a second round of evaluation criteria, that is what the questions in the letter are for. GrantWorks had plenty of opportunity to provide us with questions and say, hey, is this the criteria? Is there a scoring? They did not do so, which would lead me to believe professionally that they understood the process before they did the process. That is how we do all RFPs. This was not something that we veered from our policy or procedure in this case. That is a standard procedure for the county. As far as IEM's prior experience, that is why we went back to the committee with the concerns so that they could see the concerns and hear the response back from IEM. And as far as pricing, again, this is a best value overall. We're not sure what the final negotiated contract with GrantWorks would have looked like. It may have been higher, it may have been lower, but at this point, we do have to stick with that number 1, and then we can go to number 2, but we can't go back to number 1. And having the ability to look at the finalized contract from IEM, GrantWorks did have the ability to look at that as part of the agenda, so their numbers may have reflected that they had seen IEM's final numbers as well. So we don't have any way of knowing what GrantWorks' final would have been at this point.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
So based upon what they had submitted, forget the final, how would they stand up?
I'm sorry?
Based upon what GrantWorks had submitted, how did they stand
I
up?
don't think you.
We would have to negotiate a
do that.
contract with them using the same criteria and discussions that we would have had
And-
with the other firm. And so, again, firms were given information on how to respond to the pricing segment of that RFP. So they were all given that same information. They come in, they present that. As we go through, they may make assumptions. There's things that are made during the negotiation process where we may refine things or other details come out. Again, it's a portion, and so you look at it. It was one of several criteria that were considered, but it was not the criteria. There are a number of other qualifications that the team considered. So, I mean, you're effectively bidding them against each other if you go down that path.
As for pricing, to the extent it was relevant in the selection of the final rankings, it was weighed out by the selection committee, and you shouldn't be reweighing that evidence.
Not that I want to reweigh the evidence, but again, as it's been said by staff, they had to go back and look at different management fees, et cetera, that weren't included into the bid by IEM, and now that affects what's going to be done and who's going to do
Sir, that
what
would have
when.
been done with GrantWorks as well, though. We just did not go down that road because they were not the selected vendor. So we would have had those same conversations with GrantWorks.
I understand, but the key is you didn't go down and have that information ahead of time,
No, sir.
which to me is a very key part of this whole thing and what it's going to cost us.
It's just a point of order. It's just a point of order. We don't do that with any selection.
Yeah.
Whether we're hiring engineers to do a wastewater treatment plant, we don't go down that path. We make those selections based on qualifications, and then we discuss pricing. That's what qualifications-based selection is about.
So one thing I just want to point out, I feel like, if we don't go with IEM, then GrantWorks already knows their prices and they can be higher than them, and then we're sabotaging ourselves. So there's that.
That could happen. Yes,
That
ma'am.
can happen. So, because now all the cards are out on the table, and I would hate for that to,
Which is generally why we don't recommend you reject all bids in
So-
a situation like this, because everybody's cards have already
knowing
been
that,
played.
me personally, I would uphold IEM, because I feel like we're going to be saving we have no idea what GrantWorks is going to be due, and then we'd be knocking out IEM. We couldn't go back with them, and then they kind of have us over a barrel on price because they will hold all the cards.
Is that a motion?
So I make a motion to uphold the county administrator's decision on the
To
protest
deny the protest from GrantWorks Inc.
from GrantWorks.
I second it.
Madam Chair, more discussion?
Discussion?
So I'm just thinking about,
Under 3
I just
minutes.
asked earlier, because I had my sister go look up and see what these Horn allegations were, et cetera. And I'm told that we can't go look at that, what's outside information at this point. However, we've had other outside information coming in before us that we've been able to use, just like we just got the letter from IEM showing how they did their bid. So I don't know. I just think that if you've got issues that are here, if they're real, they're real. If they're not, they're not. But this whole thing's based upon Horn as far as what's hurting these people, and I don't know. I'm not comfortable with what we're doing here at this point. So I have more information.
Horn was GrantWorks subcontractor.
Right, and that the whole thing is,
Partner.
and it's been all said about how bad they've been, et cetera, but at the same time, you got
But-
other outside information that's come in. I think I've got some that just came online from my assistant, and I'd like to take a look at it. I think we should all take a look at it.
Let me try this again. So you've got a protest by GrantWorks of IEM's proposal. The 4 things that are on your screen is what you're supposed to be reviewing in this. The mud that has been slung back and forth really is not relevant to your decision.
Let me ask this. Did the mud of Horn come out on the second meeting?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to say that if it didn't get considered, then maybe there is some bias.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, now I want to talk about the contract.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to be sure that we are not getting, I just want to be sure that we're not going to be paying out without the homes being done. I need them to go side by side, the payments and the work, right? Or as close to it as possible, because that's what I'm hearing was the issue with the state.
We will require the work to be done. We'll review the documentation. We will do site inspections on a case-by-case basis too, if we need to. But we will not, we will make payment when we see that the work has been completed. Or at least the work that they're billing for has been completed.
Okay, and then the question that, there was a comment made that the project managers weren't included in the bid, so is the management cost going to be different than what they told us it was going to be?
No, we know exactly what that structure is going to be, and we'll check those costs every time we pay a bill, that we're being billed correctly.
Any guys have any other?
Yeah, to IEM, please don't waste our money with big shiny papers colored both sides. We'll do black and white.
Yes, ma'am, that's
Yep.
grant works.
I know that, but I'm telling you, we want to stretch our dollars in Pasco County, and we are trusting you as a board, and we take that job seriously to make sure the money's going and people aren't padding their pockets, and we're not paying people to do nothing. Please use our money for our people,
I want some.
and please take that job seriously and not waste money like this.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I want to make sure when we draw this contract up that we have tremendous flexibility in terminating this contract whenever we choose.
Well,
I don't want to go through a court situation or being delayed over
it
these
can't just
stuff.
be for whatever you choose, because they've got to hire people and staff up, and then you can't, it's got to be for cause, but, right?
Could be for convenience.
Oh,
It just, that was
Convenience?
negotiated.
Yes,
I
it
mean, I
can
just
be.
want to make sure we look at this and we have we're not going to be trapped into a situation like happened in Pennsylvania.
yeah, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
This is Karen Lloyd, Senior County Attorney, Senior Assistant County Attorney. The agreement can be terminated for cause as well as for convenience. So if the county finds that it's not in our best interest to continue with the contract, we can give them notice and get out of the contract. If they're not doing what they're required to do under the contract, we give them notice and it's terminated. So we feel that we know from all of this discussion that it's very, very important to be on top of everything that is billed to us and on top of timelines. So we took that into account in drafting the contract.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
So the reason my emphasis on that is for 10,000 issues that were out there with inspections to be done or work to be done, 40% didn't get done, and they still didn't get, they started out being for cause and then ended up being for convenience and couldn't change it. So I just want to make sure we're protected because I don't want to fight that battle.
So the contract was part of your agenda package. It has been signed by IEM. We can send it out to outside counsel if you wish, but my office was comfortable with it. You've heard from the senior assistant that was involved in the team. I mean, we could, if it is the board's desire, we could send it out to Carlton Fields and have them look it over. But because this was expedited, because we were trying to get it closed off as of what you, if you decided to uphold the administrator's determination, we wanted to be sure that we could move this forward on an expeditious basis. And so we took the risk of finalizing the contract and putting it in your package.
And Carlton Field is under our contract?
They're outside counsel, yeah.
So we could bring them in? I strongly suggest we do that, and I think it should get that done within a week and bring it.
That was, a week was my magic number too.
All right, and I think that can be done. I just want to, again, I don't want to be in a situation where we're going to be losing money and spending money we didn't want to do.
Okay, I just have a comment. I trust the county attorney's office. I'd like to see the contract signed today, so there's no chance of us having court issues or things thrown at us, which is going to waste more money, more time. I say we sign the paper, let the team, go off and running and start helping our taxpayers, because there's a chance that this could go to court, and then what? We're out more money.
Not in a
For
week.
what?
Not in a
When
week.
I trust our county attorney's office.
Madam Chair? So let's ask the applicant, are you okay if we bring this out to our in-council tournament and bring it back within a week?
So what I asked IEM is, would they be willing to entertain any amendments that we might have? Should we sign the contract today? And should we find that we're not comfortable with anything there, they'd be willing to entertain amendments. They would work that out between the attorneys.
That's good.
So I make a motion to instruct the county attorney to have the IEM sign the contract, and also to make a note of if we have any issues with the amendments, that you would be okay with that. So that is my motion.
Okay, so Let me restate your motion.
Restate it for me.
Let the
That's
lawyer
right.
state the motion.
Restate it properly. That's
Award the contract to the highest ranked proposer, IEM International, in a not to exceed amount of $32,337,100 and I went to law school too. $119.29. Authorize the chairman to execute the provided agreement with IEM and board records to distribute as set forth below. Instructing the county attorney to have the contract reviewed by outside counsel, and if they believe any amendments to the contract are necessary, present them to IEM for signature and negotiation.
That's the motion. Take a second.
second. I
No,
did
you
the
made the
motion.
motion.
Somebody else has got to second it, sorry.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right.
There's one more in this package. You want to
Oh.
delegate the authority to the county administrator to execute task orders under the solicitation RFP LK 251100 as stated in the agreement in the amount of, as we've just, with the highest ranked proposer, provided that such task orders are within the scope of the issued solicitation and all other requirements of the Pasco County Purchasing Ordinance have been met.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do you need the in addition? In addition, section 163, that's just,
Who are you asking?
What else was in your motion?
it's in the recommended board action section. We'll bring that back if it needs.
Okay. Thank you. That was a long one. Like I said, I think we would have been fine with either company with our good contract. Okay, we are back to the budget discussion, or are we going to save that for 5:15? Oh, no, we'll do commissioner items.
We've already taken care of that.
All right, Commissioner Oakley, commissioner items.
We are at 72? What?
No, we're done.
Do we do our 72?
We did that.
I got 2 winners, by the way.
That was before lunch.
My birthday.
Happy birthday.
$4 and $4. It's not right.
All right.
Been much
We're ready for these?
I'm ready.
All right. Had the opportunity to speak at Southern Charm, Sweetwater, and Settlers Rest
What is that?
communities. There are some RV communities there in Zephyr Hills, Florida, which I went to on September the 4th. Discussed with them about the different projects coming in around Chauncey Road and that area, of course, Chauncey and 56 and 301, where 301 is going to eventually be 4-lane from Highway 39 all the way down to 56, and that's starting in the near future. So went over those projects with them, and they were very happy to hear about the things that were going on in and around Zephyr Hills, and also Paducah, the cookie manufacturers on their way in their building, so it's going on pretty good. Then I had the opportunity to go visit the topping off party at Waste to Energy, and had a grand day there with the team, and really saw a lot of construction going on. And it's just amazing, the part of this that's amazing, because they told us the burner they're putting in would bring us up to at least 50% of what we were already doing. And it sounded odd, since we had 3 burners, that it wouldn't bring us half, but the horsepower of that third burner was much greater than the rest, so it will bring us up to be able to burn more product for energy. So very good meeting. Yesterday had a board meeting with Tampa Bay Water. we've had a lot of rainfall here this past month. I say a lot. It's roughly 10 inches of rain we got. We were able to, I believe I reported to you last month, there was about 10 billion gallons in the reservoir, and at the date yesterday, we had a little over 13 billion gallons in that reservoir, being able to pick up some of that rainfall and put it in the reservoir. So things look good there. We're actually, with our desal, we're producing about 16 million gallons a day through that system for the water we use. We use roughly, I think the average right now is about 198 million gallons a day is what we use in the whole system. And that's some of that surface water, some of that's reservoir water, some well water, and also desal water to do that. Also asked a question about the trail on the new pipeline area they're talking about for the southern pipeline. What that deals with Hillsborough County and not Tempe Water. It's not up to Tempe Water to put that trail on there, but it's something in Hillsborough County. So maybe you can reach out to our counterparts and ask them if they'll be able to get that done.
Because they're on your board, so hopefully they're working.
Yeah. That may be something we can talk about when we talk
get together.
in our tri-county meeting. So that's all I have.
All right. So this is pretty awesome team effort from school board to county commission, state members, House members, and Senate and governor. So Rep. Maggard wanted to do a check presentation for the sidewalks coming down Curly Road.
Oh, that's nice.
And the student in the middle between Danny and I, his name's Joshua Patrick. He's an 8th grader. And he came before MPO. He spoke to us at MPO a little while back and worked the advocacy within his school and with the parents and sent a bunch of support of the need up in Tallahassee. So it's a pretty special day for everybody and for Josh and his mom and dad. And we'll do another. My understanding is we're soon to have about to be a potential groundbreaking for Pineview Elementary or Pineview Middle and Elementary School. And so we'll send out the invitation to everybody to celebrate that once we break ground. Great ground there for the sidewalk. So our sidewalk requests to the legislature so far are pretty successful. So grateful to our legislative leadership. Next, so we over the weekend we went to Homes for Our Troops, which is the difference between Homes for Our Troops and Wounded Warrior is Homes for Our Troops allows the veteran to choose where they want to live. And so a lot of these veterans are picking Pasco County and Wesley Chapel area, or generally just in Pasco County, because of the level of health service they can receive and their distance to Haley. So the home at the bottom with Sergeant Lawrence, his family is the folks sitting down in the chair. He's missing the leg there with his wife and kids. This house is in Fox Ridge, so the MSBU spin is going to come in handy. It's a pretty phenomenal house. And then Sergeant Lopez, his house is in Quail Hollow. And what these folks are doing, and they're paying market prices for these lots. And what these folks are doing, it's essentially a form of redevelopment and adding significant value. So they're looking for, about an acre of land. And if the veteran chooses to live there, they're building 3,000 square foot fully adaptable homes. They're really, really nice housing product. And
Got all handicap improvements.
yes, sir. It's pretty special. And I can't pronounce his last name, but the gentleman in the bottom left standing with Sergeant Lopez, he's a retired brigadier general, and the number 2 in command of the Homes for Our Troops Foundation. And then we had Commissioner Oakley and I were always, 9/11, several 9/11 remembrances this weekend, or this past weekend. And so this year, Wesley Chapel Rotary recognized one of our own, Buddy Allman, who's looking good, healthy, strong. He's anxious to come back to work. And Mrs. Condit was there, and Rotary honored Officer conduct up on the wall. And so they had a nice run, 5K run every year, and just a nice showing to remember all those impacted by 9/11.
That's actually a good program that every year they put that on.
Right. Commissioner Oakley got first place in the race, mile run.
I didn't run.
Yeah, and then St. Leo, we had a nice 9/11 tribute at St. Leo. A lot of dignitaries at that one. It was the first time that St. Leo had a 9/11 event. So wonderful work by Steve Spellman and Tom DeLuca and everybody that honored all the folks there. And one other thing, I'd like to reappoint Jenny Engling to the Commission on the Status of Women. And if I can get-
Second that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. And we had a wonderful EDC banquet. For those that were there, you heard it. USF was going to beat the Florida Gators. We were crystal clear about that. We're not going to discuss Miami, but wonderful job by the EDC
We'll
staff.
talk
and
about Miami.
Chair Starkey and representing Mr. Mitchell. And I will close with everybody joining me in singing happy birthday
Oh, yes.
to our chair, Commissioner Starkey. Are you ready?
About
Put
a
your
day
hat
on 29.
Yep.
And I got
That
my
hat
little card
on.
from Gina. Oh, sorry about that.
All right. Where's our staff? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Before anyone
dear
takes
Catherine. Happy birthday to you. And I'm done.
My favorite way to spend my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
With all Not really.
We know the facts.
I am going camping next week, so that's in Zion.
That's for your birthday.
Oh, there they
Glamping.
come. Look, now here comes
Glamping.
your team.
Oh, they missed it. Okay, Commissioner Yates.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, security alert. Okay, this was the Healthy Start program ribbon cutting. I worked with them for years. They're amazing. They have all sorts of programs for young families and moms. They come into the home. They help get them set up with formula and programs and schooling. It's great. So, love it.
I love the way you're standing in front of that butterfly. I mean, it looks like you're wearing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that on purpose?
I don't know.
That's very cool.
That's just the way it happened.
So this was the Habitat for Humanity, and Commissioner Starkey sat right next to me. It was very fun, and that's the sneak peek of the HD TV spot. It's very, very good. Funny thing was, Rondé Barber was in the right behind
us.
Right behind me. He was sitting kind of by himself, eating his popcorn, just watching. And I said to Brad, I said, I don't think people realize that's Rondé Barber right there until they announced him. But so that was just really great. They had a huge turnout at Ruth Eckerd Hall, so that was awesome. This was at the grand opening of Pine Hill Park, and I have to give Keith and his team a massive shout out. So you guys know my son played. I had 4 out of my 5 kids play baseball, so been to baseball fields all over. I thought that was turf when I got there. It's grass. Like, I mean, it is just pristine. So. It was really great. Brad threw out
and I forgot.
the first pitch, and
That's
there was
right.
a guy there, and he was like, I was Matthew's coach when he was 10. So it was just great because we've been playing at the field for 20 years. So anyway,
Remember,
that
we
was
got to
awesome.
keep that maintenance coming so we can keep it pristine.
I agree, Commissioner Oakley.
I coached there, and so did my husband.
Yeah,
for
Brad
2
coached there
sets
for
of kids.
years. My daughter coached there. Yeah.
Years and years and years. Yeah.
So I shared a story real quick that, so during T-ball, my son, he was 4, and his name's Jacob, and he met his best friend, Jacob, playing T-ball.
Oh.
And they played together on the same team all the way to seniors in high school.
Oh,
So
really?
kind of cool. And now they both went to college separate ways playing baseball, but they've been best friends since T-ball, and they met at that park. Okay, so this was the Cryo-Ease Gala, and this was raising money for veterans, and where they can come to Cryo-Ease and get free care. They don't pay a dime. They've had people come in with cancer, things like that. Just the breakthroughs they're doing are incredible. the gentleman speaking, he was in 9/11, and his speech was just very emotional. There's not a picture. I didn't put it in this slideshow, but the gentleman there, he had painted a picture of for the Kirk family that's going to go up in the headquarters, and he did a portrait of Trump, and it was just recently auctioned up for $1 million. So this guy was very talented. But Congressman Belarakis was at our table, so it was great. It was a great event, and I think that's all I have. That's all I have.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Mariani.
You know, and just that picture just kind of strikes me a little bit. So let's, if we could, just have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Thank you. Thank you. That was a very sad event for the country and the world.
Yeah, I asked the county administrator to make sure that they prayed for his family this morning.
The Craywee's great company as well. I actually tried to work with our benefits people to try to help them. We could help our people too. So it didn't happen this year, but maybe the coming year it will.
You need to go next year.
Yes, I played in the golf tournament this year, but I missed that. Yeah. So I just want to show you a picture. So this is the building at Steps to Recovery down in Trouble Creek. They are moving along rapidly. I know we get part of the opioid money coming for them to help them out to finish off because of those Davis-Bacon things that federal regulations drive up the cost. They also make it hard to interpret what they exactly want, but they are doing fantastic down there. It's going to take 33 veterans out of the woods, which is, I think, phenomenal. I had asked my assistant Sonia to go put in a letter on your on the dais for Saxon Rehab Management, Sud Coast Recovery Center. Those who don't know, they were here about 5 years ago when they were first looking at a building that they had bought. Kathy Pearson and her team were out there to look at it. They finally got through the permitting process, the FEMA stuff, and they're still working on some things. They went and got their own financing. They're rebuilding the building. Going to be done in a few months. They're going to need some help as far as some landscaping grants. I told them I'd try to bring it forward to the opioid. They didn't make this round through it, but they're coming up where phase 2's coming. If they can't help them with this one, but for the next one coming up, they're going to be able to take 66 people that may be being picked up by our sheriff's deputies on meth, this other thing, give them housing as well as treatment to get them back on the road. It's the best program I've seen for the long-term housing for this type of thing coming up that's coming our way. So as they get a little bit further, they'll probably reach out to you guys, but I just wanted to share that letter with you. And on the current solicitation list, I'm very happy to let everyone know that Johnson Road sidewalk was a very important road. It's right off US 19, connects over to Zimmerman. Very important road to help people go off and across, and it's just a terrible road to drive on, is now on the list coming up, so it's going to be done very soon, which is going to be phenomenal. Jasmine Boulevard, the multi-use path is now out on the street as well as Kitten Trail from Hicks Road to Giddy-Up Lane sidewalk. So thank you for staff, Mike, for bringing those things forward. And I think I might have another picture. That was, go back to the next slide. So at the Tampa Bay Estuary and Coastal Management with Regional Planning Council, they had a couple of presentations done. And one of them was talking about wastewater deep well injection. I'm going to try to get those slides to us so you can take a look at what's going on. It's really an in-depth conversation about, they've been doing this for a lot of years, and they get some data on it that I think is important for us to know about. And I want to say Dr. Megan Moore, who works with us, agent for Pasco County, did a great presentation on the scallop season. I was able to recognize Fish and Wildlife for working so closely with us and trying to get the season back open, but more importantly, they're going to work with us to try to help improve water quality for the future. So it was a very good meeting. There's just a picture of some of the things at the Moffett opening that we had attended. Commissioner Yeager was there with us, Commissioner Starkey was there, and I'll tell you, the little orange block over there by the truck, that's a elevator that goes up, and that thing flew up there, right? It was really kind of cool, but the new proton room is right there. There's a kind of a building picture from an aerial shot. The lobby, they did a phenomenal job with that. Terrazzo steps going all the way up. another picture of the machine, and then the MRI machine that's in there as well. And the protections they do between copper rooms, copper walls, phenomenal. And that is all I have.
County Administrator.
Thank you. Just 2 items. Actually, Jeff was on to something. There was one more additional motion related to the IEM item. During the course of the execution of the DR grant, there'll have to be checks that will be cut, several of them, as we distribute funds out into the community. And so this motion is to essentially delegate authority to myself or a designee to issue those. So I'll just read it, and if I could get a motion, please, and approval, it'll complete the item.
I'll move.
Thank you, sir. Do you want me to read it into the record? Okay, thank you. In addition, Section 136.06 Florida statutes requires approval of checks or warrants from a qualified depository by an authorized member of the board to streamline the distribution process of CDBG-DR funding while remaining in line with Section 136.06. The Florida statutes approval is requested to modify the process by delegating authority to approve the issuance of checks or warrants to the county administrator or designee. All approvals will be ratified by the board at the next BCC meeting.
Second.
Wait, who made the motion?
I did.
Commissioner Oakley.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The other item, I did email you, but I think it's worth talking a little bit about, and I put Mr. Murphy here on the spot to talk a little bit about quick honor that our Pasco County Fire Rescue Group was honored with. JJ?
Sure. Public Safety's been really proud to watch BCS recently and Public Works today talk about their accreditation, and we're proud. We weren't going to rest in public safety. So in early August, Florida Department of Emergency Management came down and checked out our special ops team, and we just got word that both we were approved for a Type 3 Swift Water Rescue Team and a Type 4 Urban Search and Rescue Team, ultimately making our response to our residents premier, and we're not only going to be utilized in Pasco County, but anywhere in the state or anywhere across the country they need these type of teams, we're going to be able to support others. So thank you so much for your continued support of public safety, because that makes a difference. And I do want to also point out your support of 9/11. We got a lot of messages, and they do great work, and they appreciate your support.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention, JJ and I were out at the 9/11 golf tournament over Plantation Palms, where our firefighters were raising money for 9/11. So that was very, very incredible. And JJ, I'm very happy to see us doing what you're saying as far as the search and rescue, because when Kevin Guthrie was here, the one thing he always said that resonated with me is it's so good to send our people out to other areas that have been affected, so if something happens to us, we can be ready for it. And I think that showed really strong in the last storm, so I appreciate you doing that as well.
That's all, I think.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
I do. I have an announcement. Back in 2016, my office took over law library services for the county, and it's been going great, I think. But we're adding a new service to our service offerings that I wanted to bring to your attention. I'm very, very excited about it. It is a partnership with Bay Area Legal Services. So a lot of individuals represent themselves in civil matters, and it can be really challenging to do that. We do offer free online legal research. We offer form packets for the specific types of cases that you might have. Well, now with Bay Area Legal Services, they are providing an attorney in our office, in the legal resource centers, to be able to meet with pro se litigants, those that are representing themselves, and it's for free. And they can come and talk with an attorney about their case and how to move it forward, and the attorney can give them some legal assistance. And that is happening in both Newport Richey and in Dade City on Mondays, and I'm really excited about the partnership. And we started it with no information out there to see how it would go, and we already packed with attorney appointments already. So we're very excited about that opportunity.
That's excellent. Could you please talk about that program you guys offer? Because it worked for me when we sold some land.
Oh, okay.
It popped up that, hey, there's a title happening on some of the property you own.
Yes. I would thank you for raising a spotlight on that. I take every opportunity to talk about it. We have a free service that provides alerts if anything is recorded in Pasco County that has your name on it. You just have to sign up for it. It's as simple as clicking on the link,
Brilliant.
putting in your name as it would be on the title to your property or any business that you might own. So I don't know if you did it on any businesses either. So you put the name in, and then anytime we index that name, it'll immediately send you either a text or an email with a link to the document that was recorded, so then you can look at it. There is a lot of fraud going on in official records, and I have to say there has been a lot of media coverage in the past year, maybe two, of this fraud going on. But I've got to tell you, it's one of the oldest frauds that it's going back to the beginning. It's just now that it is being known, and I appreciate that because I want people to be aware of it, and I want them to know that we offer a free service that will provide them with alerts to let them know, hey, something's been recorded. Go and take a look. If it is something that you believe to be fraudulent, we also have in our legal resource centers, and also online for free if you want to print them out at home, a legal packet with forms so that you can go through the process of clearing that off yourself. It's called a quiet title action, and it has instructions on how to do that. And then if you need legal assistance, you can come to the legal resource centers on Mondays to schedule an appointment with an attorney to go through that if you are a victim of fraud.
Yes, I mean, that's happening all over the country. People somehow get on the title.
Can I
Take
say
it,
one thing?
yeah.
So I just want to give a shout out to Nikki because I had a friend, she was only texting me saying, I'm so scared. They're about to come arrest me. And I'm like, what is happening? So I tried calling her. She won't answer. She's like, no, they told me I can't hang up. So anyway, to make a long story short, very long story, she was being targeted for fraud. So I had called Nikki and had Nikki on the phone. I said, let me try calling my friend. So my friend thankfully picked up. She had left the bank with $5,000 and was going to meet these people.
Oh,
she was
no.
in tears. Nikki talked to her. She's like, I'm the clerk. This is fraud. Go back to the bank. Give them your money. She was shaking, right? You could hear it in her voice. I mean, she was scared to death. And thank God we got, she answered her phone, you answered your phone, and you saved her $5,000.
Yeah.
But this was legit. And Nikki's like, transfer them through. Let me talk to them. I mean, and they of course wouldn't pick up. But,
So on
but she had taken out $5,000.
My friend Allison Crumley, that y'all know from the school board, they were up in North Carolina. They got a call in the middle of the night from their daughter's phone that wasn't with them, and she was crying in the background. And they were saying they were there. They were going to kill her if they didn't send them money. Now they called from her phone, and so they were, like waking up, like what, and they actually did send some money, but they called they did call for law enforcement, and they did not go for whatever reason. So they called a friend that's a boy, and he went over, and she was sleeping, but they literally called from her cell phone, and it sounded just like her in the background crying, and it was a horrible experience. But it was fraud. So
Did they get her phone?
no, they
They
I don't know how they did
hacked
that.
into it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And yeah, I don't know if they're able to track down where the money went. So, okay, for me, don't forget, Keep Pasco Beautiful is September 20th. I'll be in my tent out in the Utah desert. I'm going actually to the town where the guy who...
What state?
The shooter's town, St. George,
Oh.
Utah.
Really?
Oh, in Utah?
And I'm going to be right near Spanish Fork, which I've been to before. So hopefully it's not a zoo out there. My staff spent the morning painting one of the Habitat houses.
Oh, and there's Paula.
I don't remember which day it was, but it was last week. Then I want to thank the legislators. I thought we had a great meeting, and I think they enjoyed it. And we had great discussions on things, on how we can make our county better. So all those who could make it and their staff, and we had a lot of staff there. I just want to thank everyone for a great morning. And yes, I toured the Moffett Center. That was amazing. My only, I got a little concern, that they're, just everyone realize it's a not-for-profit, and if they don't sell any of the land that any of those companies come from around the world to build their offices, we don't get the property tax. We do get tangible tax, but if the legislature takes the tangible tax away, how,
Oh, there'll still be high-paying jobs within the community and hopefully folks living here, so.
But that's 700 acres of high-value property that we will see. I don't know what to do about it. I did ask Josh, please just at least sell a couple lots. You don't have to keep all of it. So anyway, maybe, I'm hopeful we can have those discussions with them. Katie wanted me to let you know that was her idea on the IT buyback, so I have to throw that out there. So she says she gets a day off. Then I talked to the county administrator about this. She does good stuff. She found this out. So when you go online and you look at property, and it's in Pasco County's name, we have a lot of property that says property of, Pasco County, and it's on Osteen Road or something, right? Facilities, yeah. So, so what we need is real property this was in our rules and we're not doing it. Real property will coordinate with the Pasco County Property Appraiser's Office to modify the second line in the owner's address of the parcel folio to add the county department that will be responsible for maintenance of the parcel. So it's not in there.
That's a bigger problem than, because there's property that has nothing to do with Pasco County that is registered to Pasco County.
But then it won't be there. But at least it differentiates a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because otherwise they think everything is ours, or and we don't know who's managing it, right? Then I want to hand these out. Oh wait, I sent you some video, Gina. Did it load? Let me see which one. This is General Steel. So last Thursday, I was on that victory ship. General Steel was a three-star general in the Marine Corps.
What was
And,
that picture?
I don't know why she did that. And he is the general in charge of the Intrepid Air and Space Museum up in New York City. And that once a year for 9/11, they make lunches, and a lot of people come there, volunteer, and they stuff bags, and they do stuff for the community. But he was very interested in AMP skills, actually. And I've got his card, and he wants to come take a look at it. So again, if you ever get an opportunity, we're not on the victory ship here. This was a fundraiser for them. This is the Starship something, but a couple times a year they open up the victory ship for tours. What else did I send you? Oh, okay, here's my video from the Habitat. I want you to see all the people that are there. This is really kind of amazing. That's the couple that they do the HGTV show. It was packed. There's Rondé.
You videoed him.
A lot of people had already left. It was really good. Yeah. We want to try and get them to film that in Pasco County, right? Okay, so I want to pass these out. You don't have to run. You can walk, or I already handed some out, so I don't have as many. But a reminder that we'll be hosting, what is it called? Miles That Matter. It's the first event for all children in the county, and we're doing a very fun event at the market. We're expecting over 500 runners, and more companies are helping to sponsor it. Let's see what else. Our park is coming together. The bike park out on the east side of the county, and tourism. We at the Tourism Council are very excited about what this is going to mean for us in the years to come, because we will be able to host all kinds of events when the other bike parks around the country are closed down because of weather. So should be a real draw. And also, we're working with one of the groups that we met overseas on setting up a very interesting triathlon. And we have to have some volunteers to work on that, but hopefully it'll come together. It's a triathlon that happens on 3 days. So it's very different than the Ironman format. The run happens on one day, the swim, and the bike. And you do it in different places so we can really showcase the county. I envision maybe a swim being in one of the lagoons, the bike over by Commissioner Oakley's house, in the hills there, and then the run in Starkey Wilderness Park. So they would only do one per state, so we would be the only one. I can't remember the name of the organization out of Brazil that we're working on with this, but very, very cool event. So, okay, I think that's all we got. Anything else?
But do the budget or no?
Yeah, wait till 5:15.
5:15.
All right, so we don't talk anymore about it.
5:15.
Why? We just get it done at 5:15. We kind of heard, I think we have a majority idea. That's why I did that.
Okay.
That vote is
Yeah.
pulling it all together.
You never know what happens. You never know.
Trying to anticipate.
I know.
They won't be through by now.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Exactly.
Early down.
What do I have to sign?
Get a little more
Just the Mylar.
That's what I'm talking about.
So we're adjourning?
Yeah, we're adjourned.
We're adjourned.
I haven't done my closing argument.
Ways and wildlife depend on you to keep them healthy. Excess fertilizer, grass clippings, trash, oils, and pet waste wash into gutters and storm drains when it rains. Stormwater carries these pollutants directly into our lakes and rivers, creating an unhealthy environment for fish, waterfowl, and other aquatic animals. Storm drains are meant for clean rainwater. Most other discharges are illegal. If you suspect an illicit discharge, please contact Pasco County Department of Public Works at 727